The winner to go on to play Western and Calgary on their first series are driving against a strong wind here in Calgary on a beautiful day. Michael Landsberg, Leif Pedersen.
Thanks, Vic. 2nd and 8, and Aston looks over the middle and incomplete. And what you have missed to start this game is simply a great ground game. Leif Pedersen, Chris Lewis, one of the best running backs in the country, 4 carries for 36 yards. He drove them down to put them now into field goal position.
Well, Michael, they started the game off beautifully with the opening kickoff. 3 first downs. Don Blair, as you might suspect, had a catch on the opening series, and to Ottawa's credit, they gave up a lot of yardage, but finally were able to stop the Dinosaurs, and now they find themselves on their opening series set up for a field goal attempt.
Well, you saw a great Atlantic Bowl, and we expect a great game for the Churchill Bowl, and we'll give you some of the information you need to watch this game as we go along. We've dived right into this game, and that's Brian Malashik, number 79, who will try a field goal from 22 yards to give the Dinosaurs the first points of the game, and it's just 1 point. Malashik into a horrendous breeze that is gusting 50, 55 kilometers an hour. Did not make great contact, and it's 1-0 for the Dinosaurs.
Check out the new line of Dino products.
The weather is absolutely sensational. I mean, November the 18th in Calgary, and the temperature is 10 degrees and going up. The wind, though, 26, steadily blowing left to right on your screen, gusting to 35 and even more. The field in perfect condition. You've got 2 great teams and some great stars in this game. Now the Ottawa GGs have the ball, and the first guy you got to mention is Carlo DeCipio, their running back.
Well, I think they're going to give the ball a lot to DeCipio this afternoon. We look at the Ottawa team, and I think the only way they're going to really win this game is to really get the running game established and establish it early.
They go to the air right away, and they complete the pass to Angelo Michelli, and Michelli's gain is limited to just 1 yard. Calgary defense very active. They're right there with Michelli.
It's funny, often, everybody thinks, well, Ottawa's got to run the football to win this game, and, on their opening series, they try and cross up Calgary by throwing the ball to their running back, Angelo Michelli. But, for Steve Clark, I don't think he's going to beat this Calgary defense with his arms. So, guys like DeCipio, their fullback, and Angelo Michelli, the running back, are going to have to make large contributions. 2nd
down and 9 yards to go. The Dinosaurs got the ball, drove it right into the wind. The GGs now have the benefit of a very strong wind early in this first quarter. And Steve Clark will put the ball up for the first time. Good pressure. He is a mobile quarterback, and he looks downfield. He's got a man open, and actually, he had 2 men open, and it was kind of in between them. I wasn't sure whether he was looking for Copeland or Tunkara, and boy, they were both wide open.
Well, for Steve Clark, he's got this wind hit his back in the first quarter, and you're going to see Usman Tunkara, who's probably the fastest receiver that the Ottawa GGs have, and he comes a long way, and I don't really think this ball was attempted for him, but he ends up almost making the catch. But for the Ottawa GGs on their opening series, they can't pick up that initial first down.
The wind, and that flag doesn't do it justice. It is gusting. There it starts to blow out. Steve Clark has the benefit of the wind. He is the quarterback and the punter, and he gets it to Don Blair, all-Canadian slotback, or soon-to-be all-Canadian slotback, who returns it to the 37-yard line where the Dinosaurs will begin. Michael Landsberg and Leif Pedersen and Vic Rauter on the field as you meet the offense of the Calgary Dinosaurs, one of the best in the country, well-balanced. They can run it, and they can pass it, and that's what they like to do, run it about 50-50, and they have been very effective, particularly late in the year. As you take a look at the running backs, actually that's the Ottawa GGs, DeCipio and Michelli. Chris Ivrea, also a great receiver. Both teams blessed with fine offenses. Dinosaurs start from their 37-yard line. Again, they're into a very strong breeze, and the first time they got the ball, they ran it exceptionally well. Chris Lewis and Gene Stahl in the backfield in behind, and that is Lewis once again. This time, his gain is limited to just 2 yards. Into the line he went, and brought down nicely by Pat Thomason. Now, we promised you that Calgary line, and there it is. Fairbrother, Anderson, and Anderson. Yeah, they're brothers. Loria and Kolacek. Not a very experienced offensive line, but they believe that they get better each and every game. Chris Lewis and Gene Stahl in behind the quarterback. Don Blair, the slot back, one of the greatest receivers ever in the CIAU. More on that in a moment.
And somehow, if Ottawa can take Don Blair out of the game, 36, Ryan Carruthers is a terrific slot back on the other side, so he may get some work.
They go deep, and they've got a man downfield, and he just stumbled, and there the ball hung up into the wind, and I wasn't sure whether Jayusi actually knew where that ball was going to land because the wind was really, really tough.
Well, I think you see the effects of what the wind might do to the football today. Initially, when Jason Aston threw that ball, it was perfectly thrown, but the wind just took it to the sidelines, and Jayusi couldn't make the adjustment to it. There you see the flags. We talk about how it's gusting, but, down the field before the game, I mean, the flags, yeah, they are blowing in that one particular direction. but at field level, it feels like it's swirling around. And I know Jason Assen felt like, hey, yeah, this is going to affect my game this afternoon.
There's the kick, and it will go to Chris Evrere. This could be funny. He's one of the best punt returners in the country. Evrere makes a good move. There was a no yards called, and he takes it into Calgary territory. So the Ottawa GGs, with the benefit of the win, now have the benefit of much better field position for their second possession of the game.
Ryan Crothers with the tackle.
Because we dove right into this game and didn't get a chance to set it up, we should mention to you some of the star players in this game, and Chris Evrere is one. In just his second year, he is dynamite.
Well, he's the cousin of Ken Evrere, who had so many great seasons in the CFL and still is having some good seasons in the CFL. But Chris Evrere, number 7, there you see him. They need to get the ball in his hands at least 10 times a game. They will run him in the running game from the slot back position, and of course, terrific punt returner and a great receiver. So, you know, if for Ottawa, they got to run the ball, and then they got to get it to Evrere. They need to do two things well.
Winner gets to the Vanier Cup against the Western Mustangs, as we saw moments ago on TSN. Now, live coverage of the Churchill Bowl and the GG. DeCipio keeps those legs grinding, and Calgary is going to have to be very careful not to give him a second chance. He picked up 4. It'll be 2nd down and 6 for the Dinosaurs as you look at their offense. And their coach, Larry Ring, said Steve Salter, the right guard, is the best blocking offensive lineman in the nation. That's the offensive line, and of course they have DeCipio and Michelli in the backfield. They love to throw to Michelli. Evrere is a terrific receiver. Copeland, Beraznik, and Tunkara, the other ones. Big speed on this offense. Big speed. 2nd down, and actually a long 6 short 5. Great move right there, and he'll pick up the 1st down. Excellent running by Angelo Michelli. Now, Michelli last year, Leaf, was an all-star slot back. Made 40 receptions. They move him to the backfield this year, and he's played well.
Well, that's the thing. He gives you such versatility. You know, when they go to their 6-pack, they slot him out. But you see Michelli coming. Watch, he makes 71. Jody Bednarik miss right there. And, you know, that's the sign of a great running back. When you can make those linebackers miss at the line of scrimmage, you know, you have some great chance for success. And all of a sudden, on their second series, now Ottawa seems to get the jitters out, and they're playing a little better.
32-yard line. Here they go. And a fumble. Drop, but it goes right into the hands. And he's got a huge gap. Look at this. Michelli, touchdown. Unbelievable. It could have been disaster. It's the GGs out in front. Wow.
Michelli picks up the loose ball and goes in. There's flags down on the
penalty down as Michelli started going into the end zone or making his move for the end zone. Penalty was dropped. Now it's at about the 20-yard line. Now it's possible that the wind blew it there. I actually did not see the official drop his flag. It's going to be an illegal block against the Ottawa GGs, and what a big blow that was.
That's a tough one on Larry Ring. You know, he knows that he's come in here as the underdog in this game, although he's got a terrific team. And
illegal block, Ottawa, number 67, after yards gained, 1st down.
George Savard, the right tackle.
That's a tough one. George Savard is the tackle on the offside of that play, and I mean, he really wasn't involved at the point of attack, but they get him anyway.
Important to note, he had the 1st down when the illegal block was made, so it's 1st down from the 29-yard line. No touchdown, but a 1st down, and here is DeCipio. He loves to keep them grinding, keep those legs going. They call him the Tasmanian Devil, 5'7", 195.
And that's one of the plays you're going to see from Ottawa this afternoon. They love to run the option. Steve Clark, a good option running quarterback. And of course, his first option is to give it to the fullback DeCipio. And, you know, that the option, you know, once they see Michelli go in motion, it spreads out the defense. And all you need is a bit of a crack for DeCipio to find. And, you know, he found it right there with a solid gain of 9 yards.
Is the key to running the option a smart quarterback who can read quickly?
Well, there's no question. You have to read, and you have to read the right guy.
2nd and 1, and it looks like Clark made it over the 20-yard line or thereabouts, and that should be easily enough for a 1st down. And the GG's disappointed they didn't get the touchdown, but pick up a quick 1st down, and now they're in great position. But this is one of those games, Leaf, where you got to score when you have the win.
Well, I don't think there's any question about that. Larry Ring deferred his choice to the 2nd half, and you know, he gets the win at his back in the 1st quarter. As a running game, you know, you've got to be successful as a team that likes to run, because you're going to wear down that clock, and yet with the win, you know, you want to try and maximize your opportunities as well.
So maybe the run, the fact that you're a good running team, benefits you when you're going into the win, but not quite as much as it does when you're with the win. Steve Clark, 1st down and 10, the ball inside the 20-yard line as the GGs try to get on the board first. They trail it 1-0, or at least try to get on the board. Clark has a man open. Move back, lost a few yards, then keeps those legs going. That's what we said. Angelo Michelli and Carlo DiCipio are those two kinds of running backs that never quit. They always keep them pumping, and as a result, he has picked up close to another first down. You just got to pin him down. You got to make sure that you make it stickly, because if, in fact, you don't, he'll kill you. Second down, and it's likely going to be second and short. Now they're going to ask for a measurement. We're just underway. Let me set it for you once again, live from McMahon Stadium. This is the Churchill Bowl. The winner of this game goes to the Vanier Cup next week on TSN against the Western Mustangs. They held the kickoff for us as long as they could. Then you just missed a little bit of that first possession when the Dinosaurs drove it down, but missed a field goal. They now lead it 1-0, but the GGs have driven the ball brilliantly since they got it back this time, and they're now in good position with a first down at the 7-yard line. Steve Clark at quarterback, Angelo Michelli and Carlo DiCipio in behind him. Larry Ring told us yesterday, if we run the ball well, we win.
Yeah, he was pretty emphatic about that. It's not we may win, it's we will win.
There's the option, and Clark's going to run it, and Clark takes it into the end zone. We were talking about that. Need a smart quarterback. He read it perfectly. GG's out in front with the win.
The Village Park Inn is a great place for a weekend getaway.
That's a terrific drive by the Ottawa GGs, and Michael, you're absolutely correct. He reads Greg Heisey, the halfback. This is the guy they're going to option right now, and Heisey makes one little move out to Michelli, and that's all it took for Steve Clark to cut inside. And you see, before he even hit the end zone line, he's got the hands up. He knew he was going to get in there easily, and well, that's just a terrific drive by Ottawa. And you always come into a game with such anticipation, even as a team. Can we compete in the Churchill Bowl? Can we be successful? And I think they found out in a hurry that they can have a good afternoon.
The GGs looked outstanding in that drive, and it's important to note that they need to do it. They've got the benefit of the big win, and right now they have got the lead. The GGs over the Dinosaurs 7-1 with 5:58 to play in the first quarter.
CIAU football on TSN is brought to you by Geo, a very smart car. Tim Hortons, you've always got time for Tim Hortons. And by Menon Speed Stick and new Speed Stick Clear.
Welcome back, a happy Steve Clark. Welcome back to McMahon Stadium as we get set for the kickoff and take another look at Steve Clark. How did he do it?
Well, Michael, you talk about the option and the kind of decisions you're going to have to make. Here comes Steve Clark, stop it right there. And this was the decision. Phil Schnell stays out here with Michelli and just allows a big enough crack for Clark to sneak inside. But that's who you option. You option the defensive back. And really for Schnell, he can never make the right play. If he goes towards Clark, the quarterback, Michelli's going to get it. So Steve Clark, already in the first quarter, he's learned something quickly, that he can run that option. He's got Calgary in a terrible bind.
I guess the key there is you got to have two guys. If there's one guy out there on the island, he is in big trouble.
Well, he's big trouble. You and I were talking at the break. Calgary hasn't seen any teams that run the option, and this is their first look at it. And when you're trying to play defense against the option, you need a little experience. And this is on-the-job training today, and already in the first quarter, they failed the initial test.
With the win, the kickoff rolls down to the 10-yard line, fumbled and picked up at the 15. And a little bit of running room there as he brings it out. Is that number 33? I believe it was. No, number 32. That's Tarek Jayusi out to the 23-yard line. Let's go down to Vic.
Stephen, as you said, they bit hard on that like a dinosaur.
Yeah, the defensive end crashed down really hard on Carlo, and it left me and Ange all alone, and the DB was in a bind, and he took me. Unfortunately for us, he missed me, and then we scored.
Great. Congratulations.
Thank you. I'd like to say hi to Lionel and Lionel Best and the NBI boys out in BC, Bull, Casey, and the rest of the guys back home.
We're playing mailman again, guys.
What did he say? I didn't even understand what he said.
No, but I bet you Lionel understood exactly what it was. First down, 24-yard line for the Calgary Dinosaurs, who trail it 7-1, and there's Chris Lewis. It seems like Calgary always has a fine running back every year, and Chris Lewis is a good one. And here's the defense. He will be contending with Hull, Thomason, and Pellerin along the defensive line. They play a 34 defense. the linebackers. Now, number 2, Pierre-Paul Dorlian is a small player. They worked against him in the first drive. Mike Hendricks in black there is an outstanding player. He's an active linebacker, one of the best in the nation. And we've highlighted Mark Raphael as well. He will play some man-to-man defense against Don Blair.
Yeah, what they'll do is play him man-to-man on Blair with a zone behind it to try and give him some help. And already we haven't seen that yet, though.
2nd and 2, Lewis puts the head down, nudged forward, but I think he was short of the first down. Outstanding tackle made by number 21, James Dusick. Or excuse me, number 21, Anthony D'Ambrosio.
Short of the first down.
They're going to have to get a lot of good support from their secondary for the Ottawa GGs, especially to the short side of the field, because that's the early indication of where the Dinosaurs want to run. And, you know, Anthony D'Ambrosio, they play a lot of zone coverage. He can roll up and come up and help support on the run. He did a heck of a job there and keeps them short of the first down.
Leaf, very interesting. They are going to go for it, it appears. He needs to make it close to the 35-yard line, about the 34.5, so he is a full yard short. The 33-yard line is where this ball is, the first pivotal play of the game. Assen, with Lewis and Starr behind him, Assen goes forward and makes the first down. So a gutsy call by Peter Cannellan.
And you know what they did there? They used a lot of motion out of the backfield, and that really influences the middle linebackers. And Mike Hendricks and Mark Armstrong in the middle, who are terrific tacklers. I mean, they just had to flow to the outside, and of course nobody's there then for Jason Assen. I mean, you don't think much about a quarterback sneak and how you may influence the defense, but just that motion opened up the middle, and Assen picked it up quite easily.
Interesting call by Cannellan. He really did not want to give the ball back to the GGs, with the GGs having the breeze and having the lead, and it paid off in a first down, 35-yard line. That's Lewis again, and this time Lewis goes nowhere. Charles Pellerin, one of the best young players in this conference, highly recruited, makes a great play, and a loss of 5. So Pellerin blows through, and I know Larry Ring loves the way he plays.
Well, he really does, because he gets penetration, and that's what you want against the running game. And, you know, Pellerin was able to get in there before the Calgary Dinosaurs could even get that play started. And now all of a sudden, you know, you've got a team working against the wind. You've got them backed up in a real long situation. Now here's maybe where you can take a little chance on defense.
2nd and 15. Assen's got a strong arm. He can throw into the breeze, pulls it down, puts it up, and over the head. His intended receiver was number 32, Tarek Jayusi.
So, Michael, you know, you look at how games start and maybe who's gotten off to the better start. Although Calgary had the good initial drive, I think all of a sudden Ottawa, with their drive, they score the touchdown. Now they come back defensively and make a couple of really good plays. I think Ottawa at this point, I know it's early in the game, they have to be feeling pretty good about themselves. Hold on, down here.
Brian Malashik will kick it away. He kicked a field goal last week that sent it into overtime, and the Dinosaurs defeated the Saskatchewan Huskies in overtime. He will kick it to one of the best returners in the country, Chris Ivraire. Ivraire going to try to get to the outside, a long way to go. Now he's got a little bit of room. Ivraire turns the corner just barely. He ran a long way for what was not a very long return, but still you saw the speed and elusiveness of Chris Ivraire, and you'll see the Dinosaurs on defense as they trail it 7-1, 3:11 to play in the first quarter. Back with more of the Churchill Bowl after this. Welcome back to Calgary. The GGs lead the Calgary Dinosaurs by a score of 7-1, 3:11 to play in the first quarter. The GGs with the benefit of a very, very strong wind that will blow left to right on your screen. They've got the benefit of it and also field position. Last time they got the ball at the 47-yard line. It took them 7 plays to get into the end zone. This time a little longer, not much. 48-yard line is where they begin this drive. Steve Clark with Michelli and DeCipio in the backfield. Clark feels some pressure, steps up. Now he's got some time and throws it out of the hands of John Copeland, actually through the hands of John Copeland, incomplete. The Calgary defense, very young defense, not a lot of experience. Bob Richards, though, is the guy with some experience. He led them in sacks with 8, and he played on the Vanier Cup team of 2 years ago. Clarkson, Shuchuk, and Everson. Colavini, Kleinsasser, and Bednarik, also very young. But the potential is there, and I guess the potential is being realized because they're in the Churchill Bowl, and the secondary also young, and that name Jeremiah keeps cropping up for the Calgary Dinosaurs. He is the 4th Jeremiah brother to play for these Dinosaurs. 2nd and 10. Clark blitz up the middle, lets it go. He's got a man wide open, but over the head of Chris Ivraire, who was 4 steps behind the man covering him. He blew past Greg Heisey.
Greg Heisey on the coverage.
And that's one leaf. I guess the wind just carried it a little too
Check
far.
out the sunshine.
Well, I'll tell you what, they gave such good protection. The blitz from Kleinsaster's coming right up, and watch DeCipio. I mean, they seal off perfectly, and, this was Steve Clark's chance for the home run. Look at that, picking up the blitz, but he just overthrew Avrere. But, if they can read that blitz coming and take advantage of some of those opportunities, it's going to be a good day for him. I mean, Clark knows he missed one there, but he certainly made the right read.
Clark angling for the sidelines, and this is not a great kick at all. They'll get the ball about the 30-yard line. This is not going to be a very good kick.
That's one of the things that I've always felt in football, to not have your quarterback be your punter, because I think it's very difficult mentally. Like, Clark just missed a home run. He had a chance for an easy touchdown. All of a sudden, he's got to come back and be your punter. And, he didn't get a great punt right there with the win. And that's one of the things I've always felt like maybe it's better not to have your quarterback with too many other responsibilities.
Clark let it fly, and he just overthrew Avrere. But if that's the matchup, Avrere against Heisey, big trouble for the Dinosaurs, because Avrere simply blew by him. Dinosaurs now with the ball. They'll begin at the 17-yard line, and Lewis up the middle. Lewis taking some shots, and Lewis down to the 25, back down to the sidelines to Vic.
Up the middle.
Phil Roberts, defensive coordinator for the GGs, very happy with the way his defense is playing. Leaf, he said tendencies. Calgary usually runs the counter on play 16. They ran it on play 15 the last series. Now he's warning his defensive backs. It's all right to pursue, but don't bite too hard. Don't over-pursue.
Well, yeah, he's worried about the play action there, but, deep in your own end, if you haven't established the run, and Calgary did on their first series, but it hasn't yet, play action really doesn't mean anything.
Second and a long 3, and the ball knocked down at the line of scrimmage by, I believe it was number 95 of the Ottawa GGs, who knocked it away. Maybe number 99, Clive Lloyd.
Well, the Ottawa GG defense did what they wanted to do, a quick 2-and-out for the Calgary Dinosaurs, and with only 1:27 remaining in the first quarter with the wind at their backs, they wanted to get it back quickly and in good field position for maybe Clark to take advantage of that.
Let's see if Malashik takes his time here. 1:27 when they blew it in, so technically he could go down to about 1:08 before he kicks it in. That's what he's going to do. He's going to let time run off the clock, which is smart because the GGs have the benefit of the win. Malashik, low kick. Keeps it in play, and it will be Michelli at midfield. Michelli stops and brings it to the 51-yard line, where they will begin. Once again, good field position. Exactly 1 minute to go in the first quarter. The GGs have the lead, and they have the ball, and we'll find out what they can do with it when we return to McMahon. Welcome back to McMahon. Michael Landsberg, Leif Pettersson, and Vic Broder, and that is Jean Birlois-David, who has just made a great play, knocking down the ball, forcing the Dinosaurs to punt the ball and give the Ottawa GGs the ball back in good field position with exactly 1 minute to go in the first quarter.
Interesting to see this defensive series for Calgary. On second and long, when they had Ottawa in a bad situation, they came with 7 people, and they were very vulnerable in the secondary. We'll see what they do on this series.
Because of the speed of Chris Avrere, they are very vulnerable this time. They stack it up at the line of scrimmage. DeCipio's gain is limited to maybe 1. It'll be second down and 9.
Greg Heisey, 35, up quickly from the secondary, and here's where they get the situation again what they want. I mean, obviously when you play against Ottawa, you'd like to say, hey, we want to slow down the running game and make you throw, and although they almost got burned the last time, they get the situation they want again with Ottawa backed up in second and long situation.
Second and long, 15 seconds to go, so they're going to have to hurry if they're going to get another play, and if they have to kick, at least kick with the benefit of the wind. This time, Clark's got good time, rolls into the pocket, and drops the ball. Clark dropped it. Oh, excellent play by one of the Ottawa offensive linemen. Number 66, Steven Salter, came and grabbed it just when a Dinosaur player was going to pick it up.
The best pass rusher that the Calgary Dinosaurs have is Rob Richards, their veteran, and you'll see him at the top of the screen. He will beat the block and then come back and make the play on Steve Clark. Actually knocked the ball loose. There he gets the swim technique out to the outside and comes back in, strips the ball loose, but they can't recover.
Did he leave the pocket a little early? It seemed to me like if he would have stayed back there, he was still well protected.
The Calgary secondary came up and jammed all the receivers, and I think they forced Steve Clark to leave it a little early. I actually thought he made a pretty good decision. He just got to learn to hang on to the football.
They do get to kick with the benefit of the wind, and it's a better kick by Clark down to the 3-yard line. and out to the 20, or make that the 19-yard line, and that's where they'll begin. Jayusi with the return. 1 quarter is done, and the GGs, with the benefit of the win, have a 7-1 lead. It's the Churchill Bowl as they play for a berth in the Vanier Cup. Quarter number 2, and we return to McMahon.
The Sports
7-1, Ottawa leading Calgary as we get ready to start the second quarter. Carlo DeCipio running back for the GGs, 7 points with the wind. Would you have expected to get more with the wind?
We didn't expect to score so early, but it was all part of our game plan. Very happy that we did, and we're just going to keep on trying regardless of the wind.
See how tough it is? Look at the rips in the shirts. Thanks, Carlo.
And there you see the wind, and I'm not sure that flag tells the story. You may be saying these guys are exaggerating. It's not that breezy, but it is very gusty, and it's a gusty breeze that now benefits the Calgary Dinosaurs. GG's lead at 7-1 on a 7-yard touchdown by Steve Clark, and here Asson will throw the benefit of the wind for the first time, and he throws over the middle and a strike to Don Blair. Maybe the best receiver in CIAU history. A gain of 18, a first down for the Dinosaurs.
One of the things that Ottawa really wanted to do against Don Blair today was to put a guy on him man-to-man and then play zone behind it. But early in this game, we haven't seen that kind of coverage, and I think maybe they're going to have to go to it because they just play a straight zone. They are a zone team, but hey, a guy like Don Blair is going to find it. Look, he's only going about half speed, just sitting in the open area, and Jason Asson's able to find him. So when they're backed up, all of a sudden they got some pretty good breathing room.
35-yard line, first down. Chris Lewis, the ball carrier, and Lewis shoves one man out of the way and plows ahead close to 10. Big hole on that right side of the Calgary offensive line. Close to 10, called it second down and a short one.
Second down and 1.
Now we should note something, Leaf, that Sean Hall, their safety, their rover, the guy who plays in the middle, an experienced player, tore his medial collateral ligament yesterday in practice. As a result, they've got a youngster named Scott Kendall in there, and that's not what you want against a guy like Don Blair, is it?
Well, no, it's tough to put Scott Kendall in there. He's a good athlete, but he's young. He doesn't have the experience, and you saw nobody was there in the middle when Don Blair made his catch.
Second down and inches, and plowing ahead is Gene Stahl. Mike Hendricks met him at the line of scrimmage, but Stahl picked up a gain of 3. It'll be a first down.
Mike Hendricks on the tackle.
1 quarter, as we say, done in the record book. 7-1. Ottawa leading the Calgary Dinosaurs. First downs, even all of Calgary's first downs on their first possession. Very impressive on the ground as a result of 54 yards. Net yards, almost even. Time of possession, very close. And I'm not sure that even though the scoreboard benefits the Ottawa GGs, I'm not sure the Calgary Dinosaurs don't feel pretty good about the first quarter, given the fact they only trailed at 7-1, and now they've got the win. First and 10. Early movement. I think Ottawa was offside. And there's Asson throws, and he's got a man, Don Blair, once again. And you talked about his soft hands. There's a great example.
Well, he made a great catch, but I think he left a little early, and it's going to get called for illegal procedure. They lined him up as a tight end that time, and a 3-point stance, and it was a terrific catch.
Offside against Ottawa.
My, oh my, I thought he jumped a little early.
They will decline the penalty, and the Dinosaurs will have a first down
Offside.
at the 45-yard line.
Ottawa, number 90, penalty declined. First down.
Asson gets the ball, gets the wind, and right away goes to the air and finds his favorite target, Don Blair.
There's Blair again, just finding the open spot. I mean, you know, you're going to have to come up and get a hand on him, jam him at the line of scrimmage, or he's really going to have a terrific afternoon.
Chris Lewis, huge hole. Chris Lewis down, a gain of 13 yards. So the Dinosaurs, a different team when they get the win.
Tackle made by number 26, Scott Kendall.
Well, one of the things Chris Lewis always gets is a good lead block from Gene Stahl, his fullback. Watch the steal, and then Lewis right up the middle. And all of a sudden, the Calgary Dinosaurs, they get the wind at their back. They know that this is their chance to really take advantage and start moving the football. And, I mean, this is a great-looking drive.
Beautiful drive for the Dinosaurs. 32-yard line is where they are now. First and 10. Blair this time to the left, but they'll go to Chris Lewis, and Lewis grabbed at the line and brought down in the backfield. Excellent defense that time. Active linebacking duo in the middle, and the gain is maybe 1.
I think one of the things that Calgary's going to find out in a hurry is that they are better when they just pound away at that Ottawa defense. Ottawa's defense is extremely quick, and when they run these counters and those delays like they just did, it gave Ottawa all kinds of time to react, and Calgary was able to get little or no yardage out of it.
So let me ask you, Leaf, against a quick defense like that, good play is?
Pound away right at them, and that's where they've had success. Lead block with the fullback stall and give it to Lewis.
Second down, this time they got to go to the air. 2nd and 9, and he throws to a man, double covered, but he makes the reception, and that will be a first down or close to it. Ryan Carruthers, you spoke about him, a youngster who had been overshadowed by Don Blair, but Carruthers, an excellent receiver as well.
Well, that's the thing, the nice thing for Jason Aston. I mean, obviously you love to have Don Blair as your main weapon, but Ryan Carruthers, I watched him last week against Saskatchewan. This guy's a terrific inside receiver, and there, against some pretty tight coverage, he makes the catch, takes the hit, and keeps this impressive drive on the move.
This is dinosaur ball. Run it and throw it on equal balance, and they have a great a great drive going. Chris Lewis this time. Gain is limited to maybe 3-4 yards. It'll be 2nd down. Call it a long 6.
Made by Mark Armstrong.
Well, this is where you get into crunch time, down here, and Calgary's moved it all the way down the field on a beautiful set of plays, but now all of a sudden you get 2nd and 7, and Jason Aston, here's where he, in a big game, is going to have to make the right plays.
11:45 to play in the second quarter. GG's lead at 7-1. Dinosaurs with the benefit of the win now. The first time that they have that, look really good in this drive. Don Blair, slot on the right side. Their favorite receiver, had the best season of any receiver in history. Aston pulls it down, looks for Blair. He's got him. Blair down to the 1-yard line, belted, but he hung on.
Blair again. He's out on the 1-yard line.
And Michael, Ottawa finally went to that coverage they talked about yesterday, where they take the corner, Mark Raphael, bring him in up right in Don Blair's face, play zone in behind it. But did you see the slap that Blair gave him to get that separation? And now watch the beautiful catch, stretched out, nice hands, and the zone couldn't react in behind it. But see, that's the thing I talked about Don Blair. You double cover him, somehow he finds a way to still beat you.
He got him down to the 1. Let's see who they'll try to go with to get him in. Chris Lewis in. Is he in for the touchdown?
Lewis
they say his knee touchdown, and
touchdown.
penalty markers are down as well. Flags are down. My guess would be originally Ottawa probably lined up offside. He did not make it into the end zone. Offside against the Ottawa GGs. That'll mean first down over from the 1-yard line once again.
Offside. Ottawa, number
Or did he
64.
score the touchdown? No, I guess they're saying that he scored the
That sounds
touchdown.
good.
Did you see anybody indicate touchdown here?
I didn't see anybody indicate it, but it certainly appeared as though he was in. And what a terrific drive. I mean, if you're Peter Cannellan and you feel like Ottawa had the early momentum, all of a sudden now, his team has come storming back, and you won't see a prettier drive in any league than the one that was just capped off by this Chris Lewis touchdown run.
Where his knee touches down, and it was pretty early. That's why.
If you can see through that, you got better eyes than I do.
And they will not get the conversion. They will not make it. Bad snap, not held on, and as a result, it'll stay 7-7. It's all tied. Dinosaurs with a great drive, and with 11:13 to play in the second quarter, Ottawa and Calgary are tied at 7.
Well, there's some concern on the Calgary bench for quarterback Jason Aston, the holder on that convert attempt. When he dropped the ball, he was blindsided by one of the GGs, and he's been tended to. And it'll be interesting to see now, in fact, if he does maybe start to favor the left side of his neck. Fellas?
Well, it's tough to see from that replay how he got it, but it looks as though on the sidelines now he's going to be all right. He's a pretty tough kid. I've watched Jason Aston for about 4 years now and met him as a young freshman with the Calgary Dinosaurs. Was impressed with him then, and even more impressed with him now. I mean, he took that drive. I mean, that was an unbelievable drive. And the thing I liked is he's got the kind of offense where he can mix it up so well that he really kept Ottawa off balance, and that's the key to a good quarterback.
That's Dinosaur offense. They like to run it and pass it about 50% of the time, try to split it up exactly, and they did it on that drive with the running of Chris Lewis, the passing of Aston to the terrific slot back Don Blair, and it got him into the end zone. At least it got him down to the 1, and Lewis took it the rest of the way. 7-7 now. 11:13 to play in the second quarter. This is a good kick with the wind. Back to the end zone. And that's where they'll begin. Number 25, Yancey Romano. And Romano with a pretty good return out to the 27-yard line. So the GGs will test their offense into the breeze for the first time. Leaf, I guess Ottawa would be an offense that would be suited to playing into the wind if anybody is, given the fact that they like to run the ball.
Oh, I would think so. I mean, you know, when the wind was really gusting earlier today, and Larry Ring and I had a chat, their head coach, you know, he said, sure, it's a nice day for everybody, but, you know, this is good for us. Passing game may be a little affected for Calgary, but running, heck, we don't care which way the wind's blowing when we're running the football.
But Ring likes this, and he likes to be unpredictable. I wouldn't be surprised to see him come out and throw the ball deep. Let's find out. Steve Clark gives the ball to DeCipio, and DeCipio plows ahead to the 34-yard line. It'll be a gain of 6, maybe 7 yards. Pretty good hold of the right side of that offensive line of the Ottawa GGs. A good one with Salter and Savard over there, both of them close to 300 pounds. I was going to say behind every good running game is a good offensive line, but clearly it's the other way, in front of every good running game, and they are strong.
Not sure I like the holding hands in the huddle, though. I've never been a big fan of that stuff.
Leaf, it's the 90s.
I know, but I still can't get used to this holding hands in the huddle.
2nd down and 3 yards to go for the GGs. They'd love to control the ball into this breeze, keep it away from the Dinosaurs. But they're not going to do it here. Excellent defense. They tried the right side once again, but look who was there. Brian Shukchuk erased that play. It'll be 3rd down, and they will more than likely have to kick it away. Let's see placement of the ball. We haven't seen it yet. Now they're going to give his forward progress. They still have not put it down. An injury to the Ottawa GGs. Certainly can't tell from here who it is. It's going to be one of the offensive linemen. And the placement of the ball now is at the 37-yard line, and that's around the range where they had to get to for the 1st down. And pretty important, because they certainly do not want to give the ball right back to the Dinosaurs, because the Dinosaurs were deadly last time they had it. Here's the measurement, and it is going to be GG's 1st down. They got it on the ground into the breeze. 1st down for the GGs when we return to McMahon Stadium in Calgary. It's the Churchill Bowl, all tied at 7 on a beautiful sunny day. It looks warm, and it is warm. Just an incredible day here in Calgary for the Churchill Bowl. Michael Landsberg and Lee Pedersen upstairs, Vic Rauter downstairs. And downstairs, it's the GGs with the ball on the 37-yard line. 1st and 10, game tied at 7. Option once again, and Steve Clark. It didn't run smoothly, but he ended up, even as he went forward, with a gain of 4. Let's go to Vic.
Jason Essen, that's a Dinosaur football. They put it in the air on the ground and mix it up and go to Blair. That was as pretty a play as you're going to see.
Yeah, well, figured that with the wind in the 2nd quarter that we could pass the ball a bit more. It's pretty strong out there, and it's tough to get the ball to the receivers. But our running game's going really well, and that opens up the pass for us.
And how's your neck?
It's a little sore, but it'll be all right.
Thank you.
Thanks, Vic.
2nd and 6 for the Ottawa GGs with 9 minutes to play. Into the breeze they go. Breeze that's gusting, making it very difficult to throw against the wind. Early movement, and the whistle blew. So he starts forward, goes offside by about 5 yards, Jeff Berasnik, and then starts to backpedal. What's the call there? I mean, obviously the call is going to be legal procedure against...
We're going to find out in just a second what the call is.
Illegal procedure, Ottawa, number 17. 2nd repeated.
So there he is up at the top of the screen here, and talk about a head start.
But tell me, why does the whistle blow if the ball hasn't been snapped?
Because he was too far downfield.
Because the ref looked at it and said, that looks really bad. I should flag that one, and he did. 2nd down now, and just over 10 yards to go, so it's a little bit tougher for the GGs. First pass into the wind. It's actually a lateral, and a good catch, and he needs some blocks. Oh, stuffed right there. Well short of the 1st down. Big hit by a very active Calgary defensive line that moved across and stuffed it. And now the Dinosaurs will get the ball back with the benefit of the wind.
That's a tough play. I mean, you're going to throw the hitch back here and try, but, you know, when it's 2nd and 15, I mean, this is almost impossible on the quick screen. Your wide receiver, Calavini, the linebacker, initially forces it, but then a heck of a hit by Dan Jeremiah, the middle safety, and You know, I mean, that's great first down play, but I've never liked that as a second and long kind of play.
And that's a lateral, too, with the breeze. That's a dangerous play because he doesn't catch it. It's a live ball. High breeze. Seems like Blair's having trouble seeing it. Blair, a punt returner as well, still going. Blair brought down from behind at the 44-yard line, and that's where the Dinosaurs will begin their second drive with the win. Their first drive was deadly.
And, Michael, I think it's the real test now for the Ottawa defense. The last series, Jason Aston took it from deep in his own end, drove all the way downfield for the touchdown. The game was tied, and, you know, Ottawa's defense really hasn't been challenged up until that last drive. Now they've had time to go to the sidelines, maybe make a few adjustments, how they want to handle Don Blair. I think this is a pretty critical series for them for their self-confidence to see if they can actually shut down this Calgary team.
They've tried to handle Blair, I gather, in a couple of different ways.
And nothing's worked. I mean, hey, he's one of those kind of guys that no matter what you do, he's going to get his share of passes.
They fake to Lewis, big rush from the outside. He gets it away. He's looking for Blair, and Blair makes the great catch at the 20-yard line.
Well, that's just a terrific throw by Jason Aston, and you know, Don Blair at the end of this play does something that only a smart receiver can do. He slows down just enough to screen himself between the corner, Anthony D'Ambrosio, so that D'Ambrosio can't be involved in the play. Watch at the end here, left of your screen. He's going to slow down just a touch there, right there. I mean, that's pretty good coverage by D'Ambrosio. That's just a better catch.
First down at the 21-yard line. He's going to go to the air again and off the hand of running back moving out of the backfield. Actually, Ryan Carruthers, the slot back, incomplete. But Blair has shown you all facets of his game. I mean, he's got the speed to go deep, and he's got the hands to make the tough catch, and that was a great play.
I think Jason Aston has also shown you all facets of his game. I mean, he's a terrific touch passer, and you saw a perfect example of how he can put a lot of air time under that long bomb and allow his receiver to adjust to it.
Blair coming off the greatest season any receiver has had in the CIAU. He broke Jock Climby's all-time record for yardage, and he's picking it up in the playoffs right where he left off. Aston has good time. He's got Blair. Blair makes the move. He's got a first down. Now he looks for the end zone, and he finds it. What a move at the 7 by Don Blair. Romano was right there. He had the angle on him, and Blair just put the move on, and the Dinosaurs have taken the lead.
And Yancey Romano, you could see the respect that he had for Don Blair. He was afraid deep down near his own goal line to come up and challenge. And off to the right of your screen, you're going to see 25 Romano giving Blair all kinds of room, and the little duck underneath, and Blair has the touchdown. But, you know, Ottawa's just had a heck of a time trying to handle Blair. They've zoned him, he's beaten him. They've man-to-man double covered him, he's beaten him. And now they cover with the halfback Romano. Can't get close to him.
The only fault the Dinosaurs have had since they got the breeze was their conversion attempt, which last time was botched. This time, a little difficulty with the snap into the breeze, but they make the conversion. And the Dinosaurs have been brilliant with the win. They've had the ball twice, they have scored twice, and they lead it by 7. Aston and the Dinosaurs out in front of the Churchill Bowl with 7.5 to go in the second quarter. That guy, number 20, got into the end zone 17 times heading into this game. He's gotten in once now, and as a result, the Dinosaurs lead the Ottawa GGs. Simply brilliant play by Don Blair.
Well, he had a couple of touchdowns last week in their big win over Saskatchewan. And here, I mean, this isn't fancy. I mean, you see the kind of room that Yancey Romano gave Don Blair. And, boy, if you're going to do that down near your own goal line, you're going to end up with this kind of a thing happening to you. Pretty good move, and then he freezes the rest of the Ottawa defense and gets the touchdown. But, you know, Ottawa better find a way in a hurry to try and control Don Blair, because they're going to lose this football game if he keeps on having that kind of room.
With the win, since Aston got it 6 for 7, 127 yards and a touchdown. Malashik will kick it off. The GGs maybe don't need a score, but they've sure got to get some first downs and control the ball and not give it right back to the Dinosaurs. Excellent kick. Into the end zone it goes. Fielded on the run by Angelo Michelli. Michelli started 7 yards deep in his end zone. Stops, got some room to the outside now. Michelli, excellent job to the 21-yard line. A return of 28 yards.
Well, Michael, I think at this point in time, the problem for the Ottawa team is, I mean, they're only down by 7 points. That's not a lot. We have a look at Michelli. He makes a pretty nice play up into the middle here, and then get to the outside, and maybe had a slight more speed. He might have gone a lot further, but for Ottawa at this point, this is not a catch-up kind of offense. I mean, it's a grind-it kind of offense. So, you know, all of a sudden they can't let this game get out of hand, or they're going to have a heck of a time winning this game. So they've got to start to eat up that clock a little bit and control the ball and keep it away from Jason Ashen, who's got into a nice rhythm.
Different formation, 5 receivers to the right side. First time they've shown that, and this ball could be picked off. It is. The wind knocked it down. Interception, and the Dinosaurs have got the ball. That was Patrick Hardy who made the interception. You could tell from the time it left his hand, that was big trouble.
Well, if you're going to throw in the zone coverage, you've got to put it into the hole a lot quicker than Steve Clark did on that occasion. Pat Hardy's just sitting back in his zone on the outside, and although they're throwing inside to the slot back, number 7 of Rare, you see all the time that Hardy has to leave his area and come over and make the play and get the interception. And all of a sudden, you know, you get the turnover. The last 2 possessions, Calgary scored touchdowns, and, you know, at this point in time, they have a chance to really take control of this game.
8 minutes ago in terms of this game, the GGs were leading it. They were switching ends. Now the Dinosaurs have a chance to do big damage. Chris Lewis pounds his way inside. Picked up 4. It'll be 2nd down and maybe 5, 2nd and 5.
Chris Lewis up the middle for 4 yards.
And an injured GG
Tackle made by number
on the field, and also Chris Lewis is down on one knee as well.
Well, the thing about Calgary's attack, if Chris Lewis has to come out of the game, you don't lose a heck of a lot with Ken Elsinger, who they will shuffle in throughout the game. And he's got terrific speed. He's actually the faster of the 2 backs. Well, you saw Larry Ring, the head coach of the Ottawa GGs, on the sidelines, and a big look of concern on his face, because I think he feels what you and I were just talking about, that unless his defense can come up in a hurry, you know, this game could get out of control. There's 29, Ken Elsinger, the running back who's come into the football game. He's got about 4.3 speed, and that's legit. He's a burner.
Concerned look on the face of Larry Ring as well, because his best linebacker is down on the field, Mike Hendricks. And Hendricks, if anyone is going to stop the run, it would be Hendricks, and that is Hendricks on the 35-yard line, down right now, and they could not afford to lose him. Dinosaurs with the lead, with the ball, with the wind. And let's find out who our Vic Router is with.
We've got Patrick Hardy. So much emphasis is on this offense. We forget about the defense sometimes. Nice play.
Oh, that's all right. I don't mind being forgot about. As long as defense just turns over the ball and keeps their points down to 7, we'll be happy.
How difficult is the wind right now?
Oh, it's very difficult. Probably more so for the offenses than the defense. I'd have to say the wind helped me a lot on that ball, because it came down a little sooner than they probably expected.
Floated a little bit on them.
Yeah.
Nicely done.
All right, thanks a lot.
2nd and 6 for the Dinosaurs. Elsinger in the game, but it's Asson to pass. Asson wanted Blair, well covered this time. Throws down the sidelines and through the hands. He threw a bullet, didn't he, to number 18, Brett Campbell. Campbell couldn't squeeze it, and as a result, that is a major defensive victory, I think, for the Ottawa GGs.
Yeah, it really was, and a moral victory. You're right. If Brett Campbell cannot hang on to this football, it's still a well-thrown ball by Asson as Campbell works back to the sidelines. He made a heck of a catch last week to take it downfield against Saskatchewan to set them up for that tying field goal to put them into overtime. I watched the game at home on television, and Brett Campbell showed me a lot on there, but couldn't hang on to that one.
I'm not sure the Saskatchewan Huskies would refer to it as a heck of a catch.
Oh, they
would call it a heck of a near catch. Field goal attempt from the 41-yard line. Malashik will attempt it. His longest this year is the 44, and in this one, he's got a great wind behind him. He'll have the distance, but he is wide. He pulled it, and as a result, they get just the one, 15-7, with 5:43 to play in the 2nd quarter, and Larry Ring showed that concern. He's got to feel a little bit better.
You know, it's interesting, since Jason Asson got hurt on that one convert attempt, they've changed holders, and actually number 90, Kevin Klein, is now holding for the kicker, and you know, that's kind of unsettling to a kicker. All of a sudden, you've gone through the whole season with Jason Asson, your holder, and all of a sudden you get into this kind of a game and you change holders. So maybe that's one of the problems that Brian Malashik is facing.
Maybe it cost them too, and the GGs now offensively, the struggle is to try to get some first downs. They'd love to get some points, but like before, they've just got to get some first downs and keep the ball away from the Dinosaurs.
Well, I think the key right now for Ottawa is their first down play selection. They can't be in 2nd and longs. They're going to have to get 5 and 6 yards, and you know, they can do it with quick screens and things like that. So, I mean,
well, they get their 5-6 yards this time. It's Carlo DeCipio plowing his way up the middle. Call it 6. It'll be 2nd and 4.
Well, this is okay for them. The first down is going to be critical. They had a good play to DeCipio, and, you know, it was straight ahead running that got them that 6 yards. This is not a fancy run blocking kind of team. They don't run a lot of traps. They don't run a lot of counters. They're better straight at you. I think you saw an example of that with Carlo DiCipio right up over center.
I gather they have many more options available to them now with 2nd and 4 and into the breeze than they would with 2nd and long.
Well, I mean, you know, you look at Clark, he runs the option so well. I mean, 2nd and 4 is a good situation to do that.
They scored on the option. They run option this time, but Calgary is there to try to stop it. Clark put his head down. He needed to make it right to the 45-yard line, and the referee's foot right now is approximately a foot short. So it looks to me like the Ottawa GGs, and they'll probably call for a measurement, will be about a half-yard short.
That's solid defense by the Calgary Dinosaurs. Now, they've had a look at that option a few times in this game, and now they seem to be reacting a little better to it. Here's Garrett Everson, the defensive end. Watch the play he comes upfield to make and force Clark initially. Now, Clark wants to pitch it, but there's no way he can get the pitch out there. Once you cut him back inside, you're going to get a lot of help from the rest of the team, and that's exactly what they did.
But Clark made a good move to get around him and get close to a first down. 3rd down and about a foot to go. Clark, a good runner, more than likely will hold on to it himself. Calgary, everybody at the line, they're going to give the ball to DiCipio, and he plows ahead. Now, I find that surprising on 3rd and a foot.
Well, I've always felt like that. I agree with you. I don't like making those handoffs deep into the backfield, but obviously Ottawa has enough confidence in the right side of their offensive line with Steve Salter and George Savard that they can do that, give it deep to DiCipio and still allow him enough time to pick up that first down.
How about it, Vic?
Injuries, fellas. Chris Lewis, running back for the Dinosaurs, has ice now on his right hip. That turf, Leaf? Hip pointers?
Yeah, I hate it. No question about it.
48-yard line. GG's with a first down. Clark wants to throw a little hook and go, and his man gets bumped. Usman Tunkara, with great speed from the outside, went the hook and go, and he had a defender who simply bumped him and threw him off.
He's complaining, and Rob Kidd, the corner, when you know, he didn't bite on the hook part, but when Tunkara turned it upfield, Kidd drilled him, and he wasn't able to get close to the football.
Now, I guess the important thing there was the ball in the air, and the official clearly ruled that it was not. First downs in the 2nd quarter with Calgary with the benefit of the win, 9-2 for the Dinosaurs. And Leaf said Ottawa can't face 2nd and 10, and that's what they've got right now. Clark looks, got a man wide open, wide open, and he drops the ball. Angelo Michelli wasn't looking at the ball, he was looking at the end zone. Michelli, last year a slot back, all conference, 40 receptions, so the guy's got great hands.
He does have great hands, but I'll tell you, his heart was pounding as the ball was in the air, and, you know, pretty disheartening for Steve Clark. He couldn't have thrown a better ball here for Michelli, and my, oh my, I mean, you get into a game like this, your best players have to make the big plays, and Angelo Michelli couldn't make it right there, and Steve Clark, that's deflating.
That is a serious mistake. Clark's kick kind of dies in the air, and this fielded by Blair. Blair does a good job to field it on the run. Penalty marker down. Of course, he didn't have 5 yards. Got it at the 40-yard line, and that's one of those where there's nothing you can do running downfield when it bounces backwards. But, boy, Michelli will be thinking about that. Team down by 7 or down by 8 into the breeze.
9 yards on the return to Don Blair.
I guess on the upside of that is Clark threw a nice pass.
He threw a great ball, so at least, you know, you go back to the sideline saying, hey, you know, we did some things well on that drive. You know, we didn't obviously score any points, but, I mean, we had the right call on 2nd and long. We made the right read. We just got to start hanging on to the football. And, you know,
to give yards, no penalty, first down.
Big games are always decided by big plays, and in this first half, Calgary's made the big plays.
No yards because of the wind was waved off. First down, 46-yard line for the Calgary Dinosaurs. That was Ken Elsinger, who, as you say, Leaf has great speed. A good runner up the gut as well. They've actually switched those guys. Last week, he saw a lot of playing time.
You know, I asked the head coach, Peter Cannellan, about that. How do you decide when to change? Because they're both such great running backs. And, you know, he said, well, every once in a while, we like to just change the flow of the game a little bit because Lewis is a better banger inside. And we feel like with Ken Elsinger, we have a little more speed. And now, of course, they made the switch because Chris Lewis was hurt. But, I mean, it's tough on a defense. You know, you have two changes of speeds coming in and out of that lineup.
3 minutes to go, 2nd down and 5, and they won't get a play off. Legal procedure or too long, Leaf?
Too long, I think, Michael, getting that play off, and that's tough. You know, you got the wind at your back. You got to get in and out of that huddle as quickly as you can.
Now, what's very interesting is that there is 3:01 to play. Now, I have to admit, I'm not 100% sure of the rules, but if it was inside 3 minutes, I believe it would be loss of down. Here, it's actually nothing. There was no call. They blew the whistle and stopped it, and you and I were guessing. And
well, they're going to make a call now because the referee won't give the center the ball.
Well, I said that I was guessing, perhaps a little guessing going on down now on the field. We're following him with our camera, and he's going to go and talk to the timekeeper. They're going to put an extra 2 seconds on the clock back to 3:03 when the whistle went. I'm just not sure why the whistle went. It wasn't so much a question of what time it was blown, but why it happened. They have not changed the position of the ball or the down. It's 2nd and 5 from the 51-yard line. Elsinger stops it. Stop right there at the line. That is a huge play, the biggest defensive play so far, and it was snuffed out by number 45, Sebastian Node, right at the line. Now, Node played for Hendricks, who was injured, and he came in and made a huge play. Dinosaurs will punt it when we return to McMahon.
So who are you pulling from here? Is it divided? Stuff. Welcome back to McMahon Stadium. Cam Innes, well known to this game because he coached Ottawa to the Vanier Cup in 1980. Unfortunately, we'll have to be lost to Alberta. But now you're chairman of this game and trying to drum up support and find a permanent home for the Churchill Bowl.
Well, it's Calgary's got a great football town. They've got another team that's going to play tomorrow, and Peter's got a wonderful tradition here. So what we're really looking at is trying to get a solid base like they have in the Atlantic Bowl.
We wish you the best of luck.
Thanks very much.
Well, they hope to put on a good show, and they are getting a great show. The Dinosaurs and the GGs in the Churchill Bowl, 15-7, under 3 minutes to play. GGs will get the ball back and would just dearly love to drive the ball and maybe run out the rest of this second quarter when they're into the breeze. Low driving kick now. This could be interesting. Ivrea into his end zone. Ivrea out of the end zone, just barely. 1 foot out he got. That would have been a safety, wouldn't it?
60-yard punt on the play of Ivrea.
That would have been disaster for Ivrea, but he made a smart play to be able to field it. And the key is he's not allowed to go down on one knee. If he does, then the play is blown dead. So he keeps his feet going.
Well, I think at this point in time, maybe he should have given up the single point. It wouldn't have been a safety because he never had possession, but maybe you give up the single point and you know, once you get it out, when you're returning a punt in the Western Conference, if you just get it out of the end zone, it comes automatically to the 20-yard line, regardless of where you end up. So he got out to the 1 foot line, and that means you still get it out to the 20. It's one of the weird rules that they have in this Western Conference, but if you take a punt out of your end zone, the worst field position you can have is your 20-yard line, and that's what happened for Ottawa here.
So that's what he was thinking then, just get it out.
Just
Good
get
call,
it out. You got it.
Just get it out, and they do, and they get almost nothing here. That Calgary defense tough inside, and Carlo DeCipio limited to maybe 2 or 3 yards. It'll be 2nd down and long into that breeze. And you can see the way this is playing out. It is setting up for the Dinosaurs to have a great opportunity to add to their lead with the win.
Well, I really think, you know, part of the time they like to attack and bring a few extra people, and I think, 2nd and long here, this is a good chance for the Dinosaurs to take a bit of a chance on defense. They've got the wind clearly in Steve Clark's face. Going to be difficult for him to throw. I'd bring about 6 or 7 guys here and try and create something.
Okay, so you're Larry Ring and you're offensive coordinator, and you're talking it over with Clark, and you're thinking the same way. You know, they're going to gamble, they're going to bring it. What do you come with?
Well, you can throw a swing to Michelli or DeCipio, a little swing pass to them, or get something outside quickly, run a draw. One of those things. But I think the biggest thing that you chat over with Steve Clark, down in your own territory, try not to give him the turnover. That's the biggest thing you want to prevent here. If you're going to, Calgary's going to get good field position, make them earn it. Just try and prevent that turnover. But get it to one of your backs quickly on a swing pass. That's the play I like, because you're going to have the heat coming up the middle.
So he would take the short drop then?
Short drop, little swing. They've got a lot of different packages, so we'll see what they put in here. They've still got both backs in the backfield with Clark.
They're going to go shotgun, second down, and very long, 2:24, second quarter. Clark, decent protection. Now the pocket collapses, and over the head. He threw it to Carlo DeCipio. He was wide open, but a tough pass for Clark with the rush coming.
Well, he had the rush coming, but the two running backs checked for the blitz, and then they ran a crossing pattern. DeCipio was wide open, and, you know, as a head coach, you'd think that your quarterback, when you get this late stages in the season, that you can make this completion, but you'll see the pressure coming on Clark, and really, I still think he should have made it. Rob Richards was in there, but Clark still had a good vision downfield, and he just simply overthrew him.
Now Clark to punt inside his 10-yard line. Look out for Blair if it's kicked to him. One bounce, and Clark fields it. Clark, decent kick into the wind. Blair at the 50-yard line. Blair still going. Blair still going. Now he goes back the other way. Now it gets interesting. He needs a block, and he gets a good one inside the 40-yard line. And Blair is dynamite any way you get him the ball.
Well, only a player with tremendous confidence in his ability can make this kind of a play, to be patient enough to say, okay, well, if there's nothing here, I'm just going to reverse and, you know, take my time here. Now he's looking for a little opening, and he's going to get one. But, I mean, you have to have tremendous confidence in your own ability to make a play like that. And Don Blair seems to do it every time he touches the football.
You know what almost happened?
Illegal block. 3, number 11. First down.
Almost always happens when a guy runs back and forth across the field. Very often you get a penalty, and that's what you got there. So 54-yard line, just inside Ottawa territory, is where the Dinosaurs will begin. 15-7, certainly one of the key points in this game. Late in the first half, the Dinosaurs have the win. Assen steps up, puts the ball down, drops the ball. I think the Dinosaurs got it back.
I believe Sebastian Node, the linebacker who made the terrific tackle on the last series, came through on the blitz and actually knocked Jason Assen's arm, and I think the Dinosaurs were lucky that they were able to recover it.
They were lucky, and pay tribute to the secondary there. He looked for Blair, then he looked deep. Neither guy was open, and
there it is, Node 45. See, he was looking for that ball all the way and knocked it loose, and the Dinosaurs alert to pick it up. But, boy, Node has come into the game and all of a sudden has made two fairly large plays.
Second down and 17 yards to go for the Dinosaurs. Assen, here comes the rush up the middle. He throws into good coverage and over the head of the intended receiver, number 90, Kevin Klein. But excellent pass rush on first down, and as a result, second and long for the Dinosaurs, and they're not able to convert. Boy, was that ever a key few plays for Ottawa.
Yeah, Charles Polarin, he's their best pass rusher. You watch the effort he makes to get upfield and beat the block. A swim technique right there, and then he takes on the back, and boom, the hit on Assen, and that's what really forced him to throw it away.
I believe he's a first-year player in the Quebec CEGEP League, likely the highest caliber football across the country. He was the player of the year, not the defensive player of the year, from the defensive line position.
Well, I mean, you see the effort that he made. He beat the left guard, Harold Anderson, and then he took on the back, Gene Stahl, rather, and still gets to make the hit. I mean, that is some kind of effort.
137. Balasha kicks. Short kick this time. If Rare has it go off his hand and into the end zone, and he will give up the 1 point here. The 1 point, there's no question he did not have possession. So I'm not sure that's such a bad thing. 65 yards on the kick. And they'll get the ball.
I think with 1:27 still remaining, that's not so bad to give up the single point there and, you know, bring it out to the 35-yard line. I think you need to sacrifice a point for field position at this stage, because a quick 2 and out in Calgary could certainly still add to their lead.
Which is clearly what Evrer was thinking when he had the ball bounce off his hand. He was thinking,
sure he was.
Let's get this thing into the end zone.
An interesting half for Larry Ring. His club came out strong in the first quarter, and then really since that solid opening drive hasn't been able to get anything together.
But you know, the best thing for Larry Ring is he gets the choice in the second half. He'll have the wind in the fourth quarter if he wants it. Clark steps up. Clark got a man and out of the hands. Right off the shoulder pads. A perfect strike. Wide open. Was that Evrer who dropped the ball?
Well, All of a sudden, the Ottawa GGs are having a tough time hanging onto the football, and for Steve Clark, the quarterback, I mean, that's tough. Michelli's dropped one, and now Avrere works like crazy to get open. I mean, that's a terrific effort, but, you know, that's not a tough catch. Yeah, it's behind him, but, you know, in the big games, your talented players have to be able to make those plays, and, you know, it's tough for Clark. He's thrown the ball well. You see only 2 of 10, and one of the big reasons why is his receivers just can't hang on.
He has thrown 2 good passes that were dropped. 0 for 6 in the second quarter. 1:21, he's taking time, but the clock is not moving. Clark breaks a tackle, not going to make the first down. Excellent containment by the Calgary Dinosaurs, and Ottawa will punt it away. But you said that you like giving up the single, and here's the benefit. They'll now punt from their 40-yard line.
Well, I'll tell you what Calgary's getting now on their pass rush is the perfect combination. They're getting the good speed from the outside. And, you know, here's their veteran, Rob Richards, coming up here, and that forces Clark to come up here. But the 2 tackles are getting the good push, and any good pass rush has the pressure from the outside, force it up into the inside, and, you know, all of a sudden, Steve Clark has nowhere to go. Rob Richards, boy, you know, 5th-year player, and, you know, we look at this game, and I think it's worth repeating. You know, you have to look at the stars on your team in the big games to perform, and he's had himself a good first half with some nice pressure.
Leaf, let's look ahead of the second half now. The coin toss before the game was won by the Ottawa GGs. Now, they chose to have the selection in the second half. Is that correct?
That's right.
Which means now that Larry Ring is faced with this situation. He could take the ball given the fact that he's down in the third, but I think he wants to win in the fourth quarter.
Well, that's what, you know, he deferred, so all of a sudden Calgary gets their choice in the first half. They want to receive and get the win in the second quarter, but I think what will happen is Larry Ring will, you know, his choice will be an end in the second half. So I'm sure, you know, he will kick off again and give Calgary the ball, but he will get the win in the fourth quarter. As much as anything to keep Calgary's passing attack from having to, you know, you don't care about the win for your team. It's just to make sure they don't get it.
GGs could have taken a little more time there. They only ran 7 seconds off the clock. Short kick by Clark. Fielded by Blair at the 45-yard line. Excellent coverage that time, and as a result, only 2 on the return. Well covered by number 45, Sebastian Node. This kid's played well.
Well, he really has. You know, he's in for an injured Mike Hendricks, and all of a sudden, he's made plays all over the field.
But they did give Calgary more time. They only ran 7 seconds there off the clock after the injury. And, well, you can't afford to give the Dinosaurs any more time. 56 seconds to play in the first half. Clock will not start until the play is snapped. The Dinosaurs lead it by 9 points. Asson fakes. Now he's got time. And he throws over the middle, and he's got a man. First reception of the game by 92. Sean Sexton. Sexton's gain will be 8, 2nd and 2.
Sean Sexton with the reception. He picks up about 8 yards.
You know, you look at Calgary's offense, they've had just enough of a running game going that the play action works. They freeze the linebackers of Ottawa just enough, and then Sexton finds the hole. Good job underneath the linebacker Hendricks there, number 51, and he makes the catch, and Calgary's on the move. They're only about 1 first down away from a shot at a field goal.
This time they keep the ball on the ground. Stahl with the rush inside the 50 to the 47-yard line, and that's a first down, and they're in their hurry-up offense.
Pretty good footwork by Stahl, the fullback. You know, initially he was jammed up, but kept those feet moving to the outside.
First down. When they set the yard markers, they'll blow it in. Asson, a veteran player, taking advantage of the clock. He's got a man wide open. I mean, wide open. Nobody within 5 yards of Kevin Klein.
Kevin Klein did a nice job. You know, these receivers read coverages very quickly, and Kevin Klein saw the zone coverage. He's running the hook pattern. He just found the open spot, and look how open he was. And, you know, Ottawa all of a sudden now has to make a decision. Do they want to come up and pressure these receivers or give them that much room? And I think if they give them that much room, they're in big trouble.
1st and 10. Asson's going to go to the air again. Throws, and excellent short catch. He got the hands down low. Tarek Jayusi. That was a tough catch, and he made it at the 20-yard line. It'll be 2nd and about 1.5 yards.
But the key for Asson, too, now, there's no pressure coming really from Ottawa, and he's having enough time to stand into the pocket and allow the patterns to develop, pick out make his good read and find the right receiver. And now back-to-back hook patterns, one to Klein and, of course, one to Jayusi. And they've got themselves into scoring territory in a hurry.
Here's your guy, Charles Pellerin. You say that, he's had a great game so far. He is down now and is injured, and he's their best pass rusher, and their pass rusher has kind of vacated in this drive. Charles Pellerin down.
Kind of unusual that he's their best pass rusher as a tackle. Usually you think of one of the rush ends on the outside as players that get closest to the quarterback, but Pellerin, up the middle, and they certainly need him in there.
Jason Assen, who's been getting good protection this time, gets nudged after the play. And,
well, that's Jean Berlois David. That I think that could have easily been called, but you see the official had a good look and decided that he wasn't going to call it.
Yeah, it did look like it was pretty light.
Kind of unusual. I've never really seen this. The entire Ottawa defense has come off to the side of the field to have a chat with the coaches, and now they all come running back on again to assume their position. Here they come. Like the Calgary, they better hurry up.
Yeah, they may not make it on it.
Calgary says, look, let's get the play started before they all get back in here.
Interesting situation here. They're faced with 2nd and 1, but if they run the ball, it's going to cost them time. They may throw it on 2nd 1, and no, they're going to hand the ball off. Stahl up the middle. Stahl drops the ball. Oh, and then gets it back. That's twice today that Calgary has fumbled, and they've been fortunate enough to get it back.
Well, they got 9 seconds left, so I think what you wanted, well, Jason Assen has a timeout still allowed to him, and he takes it. And I think what they're going to do, 9 seconds, you come over and you have a little chat. You certainly have one shot at the end zone, and you still have time after that if you want to try for a field goal. But well, you have to like the composure of this Calgary offense. Sluggish start, but all of a sudden they've had terrific momentum in halfway through the first quarter and into the second quarter, and now late in the second quarter they have a chance to really take control of this game.
Well, a key final 9 seconds. If the GGs can hold them to a field goal, you get the feeling they still got a great shot at this game. Even if they give up a touchdown, it's not over. But 19-7 heading into the second half, knowing you'll have the win in the fourth quarter. But if you're down, say 23-7, it's tough to give Calgary the win in the third quarter because they could bury you. You may get the win in the fourth and be down by 30 points.
Yeah, that may be a decision that Larry Ring will have to wrestle with at halftime if, in fact, Calgary is able to score a touchdown. That's a good point.
Well, we'll debate that one. But first of all, can they get in the end zone? One shot before the field goal attempt. Watch out for number 20, Don Blair, lined up on the right side. Assen, no rush at all, and Blair is wide open. Blair was wide open. Touchdown beating Mark Raphael. Did he have him in man-to-man?
He had him in man-to-man again with some help over the top, but Don Blair didn't go far enough for the help over the top, and he ran a terrific pass pattern on Raphael. The same play he scored his previous touchdown on, and technically he's just such a solid receiver, and I'm not so sure there's anybody in this Ottawa secondary that they can put on him man-to-man and have any success. Raphael is their best cover guy, and he wasn't even close.
Not even close. And Blair, brilliant once again, as he has been really now for 2-3 years. He has been the dominant force in this Calgary offense.
But Michael, I don't think this is anything that's surprising us. We came into this game and we would have our conversations and analyze the game the way we thought it would materialize.
You know what? I've never seen that before, ever in my life. Did you see that? The ball is snapped, it bounces, nobody holds it, and he kicks it through. No, they're saying no good.
I think it went underneath the crossbar.
I thought it went through, but is that legal?
Sure, it's legal. Anything's legal today, Michael.
That is absolutely wild.
Unnecessary roughness, Ottawa number 99, 15 yards on the kickoff.
(22-7), so they don't give him the convert.
Well, one more look at the touchdown. There you see Don Blair. There he is at the bottom of your screen, and poor Mark Raphael has drawn the assignment. Watch the push right here. Boom, upfield, and he's got Raphael with no idea where he's going. And hey, yeah, that's his second touchdown. He's 4 touchdowns now in 2 weeks for Don Blair. And boy, everything I ever saw of Don Blair is come true today. He's a terrific receiver, and he's just having his own way out there. And I'm not so sure, you look at adjustments that a team could make. I'm not so sure there's any adjustments right now that Ottawa can do to take him out of the game.
Leaf, you said second touchdown today, correct, but keep in mind, they got their other touchdown on a 1-yard run, and who got him down to the 1-yard line? It was that guy, so he's a yard away from 3 touchdowns. 17 on the season, the most ever, and he has been absolutely brilliant here today. 22-7, Calgary over Ottawa. The story of this game appears to be, what do you do when you get the win? The answer for Ottawa was you score 1 touchdown and look pretty good. The answer for Calgary is you score 3 and you look absolutely dominant, running the ball and passing the ball. 4 seconds to play now in the first half, and the Dinosaurs, because of the unnecessary roughness penalty, do have a chance to get the ball into the end zone and maybe get a single.
Or try an onside kick and hit one of your guys on the fly.
It's an interesting call.
Oh, yeah, that's the one I'd make.
Nope.
You can let it go right through the end zone and you don't get the single.
We'll see if Ottawa's aware of that. If they elect not to catch it and let it bounce, he should be able to make it out from there, and he will if Rare out and still running. If Rare, dynamite player, but when you start 15 yards deep in your end zone, it's pretty tough to get it the length of the field. If Rare gets it out, and the only real problem for the Dinosaurs has been conversions. They missed 2. Their lead is 15. As the first half of the Churchill Bowl is done, the winner of this game will advance to the Vanier Cup to face the Western Mustangs. We've got a great halftime show planned. We'll return to McMahon after this.
Welcome back to McMahon Stadium. 22-7, Calgary leading Ottawa as we get ready to start this second half. And we assumed it was your choice of win, but you tell me it's not.
No, we had choice first half. It's their choice now. I'm assuming they're probably going to give us the win in the third, and they're going to take the win in the fourth.
You had a good start, but after that, just couldn't put together. And it's funny, I asked one of your players, in fact, if you were satisfied with the 7 points you got. You needed more with the win, didn't you?
We did, yeah. We dropped a couple of balls. One for a touchdown in behind, another one on a key first down. They're a good football team. We can't afford to drop balls. Their big players are making big plays. Our big players got to show up.
And what about Blair, and how do you defense him? Do you go up and bump him and try to stay close, or are you going to give him the room, which he obviously likes?
Well, we did something. It didn't work, so we got to switch it up. I think we got to play him a bit more outside. We got help inside. We'll stop him this half.
All right, we'll find out. 22-7, Calgary leading.
You know, he said exactly what you said before, a couple of things. A, he said your best players, your big players, your experienced players have to come up big in the big games. And he said also, we didn't stop them, we'll change it.
Well, they're going to have to change it. I mean, that's a good plan. Funnel Don Blair to the inside where there's not only more traffic, but maybe more help. But I don't think there's any secret. I mean, this isn't earth-shattering. In big games, your stars have to play well, or it's very difficult to win. Calgary's did in the first half, and Ottawa's players didn't.
And you need great play from your quarterback in a game like this. And here's the comparison. Steve Clark, just 2 of 10, footnoted though by saying 2 passes were dropped. One of them could be a long one. Jason Aston, 11 for 18. Deadly, though, in the second quarter when he had the win. No question the battle won by Aston in the first half. And no question on the scoreboard, it's reflected 22-7. Now, let's lay it on the line. If the GGs don't score, I was going to say at least 2 touchdowns, then they're not going to be leading, and they're finished because in the fourth quarter, they're going to be outscored likely by Calgary. They may need more than that.
It could make for a long afternoon here if they don't have a good third quarter, but I'd say they have to be at least tied at the end of this next 15 minutes, or it's going to be difficult for them to win this game.
Well, they get the ball, and they get the win, and they need to score some points. And here's Michelli, and Michelli brought down quickly. The Dinosaurs swarm all over him to start this second half. The GGs will begin from their 26-yard line, and this guy, Steve Clark, better get them down in a hurry. You know, you want your team to be patient, don't you, Leaf? But they need 2-3 touchdowns in this third quarter.
Well, I think they can still stay with their running game, but obviously 2 of 10 in passing won't get it done. I mean, their players are going to have to hang on to the football, and they're going to have to throw the ball a little bit more than they wanted to.
The 26-yard line is where they begin. And DeCipio is the ball carrier. DeCipio drives ahead, and he's pretty close to a first down. He needed to make it to the 41-yard line, and he is out over the 41. Should be a first down for Ottawa.
DeCipio rumbling for 9 yards.
Now, we saw Ottawa practice their hurry-up offense when we were watching their practice yesterday. Wouldn't be surprised, as unusual as it sounds, to go to that in the third quarter.
I think that's a good point, and I think that's something that maybe they will consider depending on how they, what kind of start they get off to in this third quarter. I mean, that's a great play to start off with DeCipio, and Michelli made a nice block for him. But I mean, you get a first down your first play, but that's an interesting thought. I think it's something that they should consider if they don't get back into this game in a hurry. See 42 on their helmet there. That's for Sean Hall, who blew out his knee yesterday and couldn't play. So as a tribute to him, a lot of the players are wearing 42 on their helmet.
He was one of the guys in the secondary that would have been responsible for covering Don Blair. 1st and 10. Original time, but now forced out of the pocket, and he throws the ball away. Steve Clark simply gets it out of bounds, and then we'll regroup and
Throwing it away.
take a 2nd and 10.
You know, on the other hand, Michael, I think Calgary, senses too that if they have a strong quarter defensively, that, they could coast to the victory, and then, of course, would only be a few moments away from going to the Vanier Cup. So defensively, this is a big quarter for them.
Illegal contact. Calgary, number 25. First down.
Well, that's Phil Schnell, the defensive back for Calgary, and they've been certainly willing to come up and challenge all the Ottawa receivers this afternoon and jamming them at the line of scrimmage. He got called for at that time, but what they have done has been really effective in not letting any of the Ottawa receivers, for the most part, get into their patterns nicely.
Chris Ivraire, just 1 catch in the first half. He did go deep once and was just barely overthrown, but that's a great job by the Calgary defense. Here's DeCipio to the outside, and DeCipio not going to make it to the outside. Strung out beautifully there by Phil Schnell. You mentioned Schnell's aggressiveness, and there you see it again.
Well, he's had a terrific game. He got beaten down on the goal line on the one option play, and it really wasn't his fault, but here he is at the top of your screen, and watch how he gets into the backfield. You can only do that when you're playing zone, but he takes on the block of Michelli there and then gets the first hit on DeCipio. He's going to get some help, but that is a heck of a play by your halfback to string it out and make a solid play.
Calgary playing with tons of confidence now defensively. 2nd down and 8. They go with a draw play, and DeCipio not going to make it. Not even close. Calgary not fooled. That is a big, big play by Brian Shuchuk.
That's a tough thing. We talked about Ottawa's offense. It's not a great 2nd and long kind of offense, and they put themselves in a bad situation and couldn't convert.
That's a great play by Shuchuk. In his first year, they run the draw play, and he is right there, not fooled at all. Steve Clark to kick, and they're expecting a large kick. They're waiting about 60 yards downfield for this one. I guess it's easier to run up than down. Bounces in front and is going to roll out of bounds at the 20-yard line, and that's where the Dinosaurs will begin. And the Dinosaurs have got to be feeling very good about things right now. GGs get the ball in the wind and don't do much with it.
Well, there's a few things that Ottawa can do on defense right now in the 3rd quarter. I think for them, they really need to change the flow of this game with a turnover. Calgary's really played error-free football this afternoon, but I think if you're in the Ottawa defensive huddle, I think you're saying to yourselves, hey, listen, we got to start to tackle that football. First guy in, make the tackle, and 2nd and 3rd guys in, rip that ball loose, and let's see if we can't somehow change the flow of this game ourselves.
First down, 20-yard line. That's Lewis back in the game. Some big hitting there, but Lewis, an aggressive runner, picks up 6. It'll be 2nd down and 4. He loves to stick his head in there, doesn't he?
Well, he really does, and he took on Mark Armstrong, number 32, the outstanding linebacker from Ottawa, who is known as one of their biggest hitters. There he is, and you could hear the pop all the way up here in the booth, but it was Chris Lewis, the running back, that really delivered the blow.
Leaf, I like your comment about the Ottawa defense in the sense that they've got to do more than just stop them. I mean, Calgary getting a couple of first downs and punting it away, they're going to run out of time. I mean, they need the ball and they need points now.
Well, yeah, there are things you can do on defense to try and change the game, and one of them is to create a turnover. And I mean, it's not that tough. Here's Armstrong there. Watch him coming, and boy, he's just going to end up taking a heck of a shot. The left shoulder dips down by Lewis right there. Boom. I mean, you go helmet to helmet, and when the running backs are winning those battles against the linebackers, you know something's either wrong or you've got a running back that's pretty powerful.
That is a big-time collision. And one of the GGs still down. Let's go downstairs to Vic Rodder.
With the GG's quarterback, Stephen Clark, how difficult is it right now? I mean, you have the wind, you're trailing. You've got to get points.
Yeah, we definitely have to capitalize on the advantage when we have the wind. We'll get things moving, I think we're confident. We'll be all right. We just got to get them, we got to control the line of scrimmage, and I think from there we should be all right.
How big a factor is that line of scrimmage? I know when your line came off, your offensive line coach came over and said, you're missing some assignments, fellas.
Yeah, they're giving us some problems. They're just beating us man to man. We just got to suck it up a little bit, and we'll be all right.
Got to get them now.
Yeah, we definitely have to.
Thank you.
That was a very interesting interview. Vic almost urging him to say, we got to do it now, but he wasn't willing to say it. And I agree with Vic. I think they got to do it now. You know, if they keep being confident saying we'll get it done, this game could end and they could walk off the field without ever having cut into this lead. 2nd down and 4, and it'll be a 1st down for the Calgary Dinosaurs. Lewis once again, and you could hear the popping and the thudding going on. He likes to stick his head in there, and he's done it, picking up a 1st down.
And what I like about Calgary's running game is they seem to every time get a terrific block from Gene Stahl, their fullback, and he really is the focal point in their running game. And you know, anytime that Lewis is picking up yardage, I'll guarantee you Stahl has made a good block.
You know, what you just said applies to Dinosaur teams for the last 15 years.
Yep.
They always seem to have a fine blocking fullback, and I'm thinking back over the years, Spallettini was an excellent one. They always have a good tailback, but the fullback is often unheralded. Here they run it to the left side, gets another great lead block, and Lewis cuts back. Now he's got room and blockers. Lewis inside Ottawa territory. Great running and great blocking for Chris Lewis and the Calgary Dinosaurs.
Pick up of 26 yards, 1st down Dinos.
Well, Michael, Ottawa's worst fears are coming true. Watch Gene Stahl. You get Anderson coming around the corner for Lewis, and again, it's the key blocks at the point of attack. There's Stahl. You got Harold Anderson, 61, and now Chris Lewis cuts back. But for Ottawa, their worst fears right now, Calgary chewing up the clock into the wind when they need to have the football.
53-yard line, the Dinosaurs have it. Here's Lewis again, and a hit pointer early in the game. Now, penalty marker came down very late. As Lewis was running by his man, the penalty marker came down, and they'll call this back. Holding against the Calgary Dinosaurs, I believe, will be the call.
No, you mentioned Michael, Chris Lewis with the hip pointer. I mean, it sure doesn't look like it's bothering him the way he's able to cut back and make runs like he's just made.
Holding, Calgary, number 46, down repeated.
Barkley Anderson, the center. His brother plays alongside him in the offensive line, Harold Anderson. And let's mention that offensive line now. Andy Kolachek, Sonny Loria, Barkley Anderson, Harold Anderson, and Ben Fairbrother. Always the unheralded fivesome, but in this case, you got to mention them because they have done a good job blocking for Chris Lewis in this 3rd quarter against the wind. 1st and 20. Asa throws, screenplay. It's Stahl, and Stahl picks up 13. And it'll be 2nd down and 7, and that was the ideal play there. That's what they wanted, and Calgary looking very sharp right now.
Well, what impresses me about Calgary is their play selection. It seems like in critical situations, they always seem to make the right call. This is a perfect call right here. You got 1st and 20. Why not run a screen, try and get half of it back? They end up getting 12 yards, and, you know, Stahl gets a chance to handle a football instead of having to make a block all the time.
Second down and 7 for the Dinosaurs. Into the wind, right at the 50-yard line. Assen, more confidence throwing against the wind than his counterpart, and he throws an excellent pass into the wind. He still got something on it. Number 18, Brett Campbell, with his 2nd catch of the game.
Well, every time the Ottawa GG secondary is sat back in his zone coverage, Jason Assen, when he's had time to throw, has really been on the money. And Brett Campbell, who made the unbelievable catch a week ago to get the Dinosaurs into this position. The Churchill Bowl comes up with a key catch to keep this drive going. It goes back to who's making the big plays. Hey, you convert 1st and 20. You've done a heck of a job by your offense.
And they did it in the air with a screen pass and then a sharp pass. And here, another hole, the right side. Anderson, and Fairbrother blocking superbly, and it's a gain of 8, maybe 9, close to 10 yards. It'll be 2nd down and very sharp.
We're going to get an interesting look here at Chris Lewis coming right up the middle, and once again it's the center, Barkley Anderson, with a good block to open up that big hole. And you know, Ottawa's in trouble when their defensive backs are starting to make all the tackles.
Chris Lewis, 19 you see on the ground, 124 yards. He was over 1,000 yards this year. You know, you come out to Calgary and you watch this team play year after year, and there's a pattern here. They always have a strong running back, they always have a fine blocking fullback, and they seem to always have a fine quarterback, and that's the story again this year.
And I remember one of their best running backs, Tim Petros, from years gone by, and I'm going to go and see Tim right after this game over at Nick's Steakhouse across the street.
Tim Petros and Elio Jeremiah, who I believe is still their all-time leading rusher. One of 4 Jeremiahs now to play. Dan plays in the secondary. 2nd down and very short. They're going to go to the air, and wide open under the backfield is Gene Stahl. Did he get a block? Did he get a block in behind? Ryan Carruthers crunched his man. Stahl down to the 10-yard line. And these Dinosaurs have been brilliant to start the third quarter.
And it's the perfect call because you've had great success running. Here's Stahl, and he just goes out into the flat off the play-action fake. I mean, he's been lead blocking now. He just goes right by it. Look at everybody in Ottawa is caught flat-footed, and, you know, it's a great call by Jason Assen. There he is, easy ball to complete, and then a good block coming up. I don't know if you there it is.
There
right
it is. You said it before, Leaf. We heard it up here, and we heard that one. First down, right at the 10-yard line. Here comes Lewis. Lewis to the outside, and Lewis in for the touchdown against the wind. The Calgary Dinosaurs with the best drive of the game. 9:06 to play in the third quarter, and the Dinosaurs took one giant leap to the Vanier Cup right there.
Well, that's one of the most impressive drives you'll ever see. They had a good one in the first quarter to score their opening touchdown, and now in the third quarter, boy, the Calgary Dinosaurs really take control of this game. And once again, Gene Stahl, it's the block by the fullback, and you get Sonny Laria, the guard, coming around the corner, and then there's no way they're going to catch Chris Lewis. But what a game he has had. You know, kind of silent in the first half. We didn't talk about him that much, although he did get some good yardage. You come here in the third quarter, and it's been all Chris Lewis on this drive.
Let's see if they can make a conversion. 1 for 3 in the convert department. Now they're 2 for 4. And the Dinosaurs with a great drive against the wind. We said the GGs needed to score. Not only did they not score, but they got scored on. And they are in a whole heap of trouble right now. 9:06 to play in the third. It's the Dinosaurs by 22 in the Churchill Bowl. End of the first quarter, Leaf, it was 7-1. Now, in the third quarter, 29-7. The Dinosaurs lead it.
Well, they really dominated nicely, and what a beautiful drive that they put together. Look here, I mean, you've only got 5 Ottawa guys on this side of the line of scrimmage, on that side of the formation. So now you got Sonny Laria out there, the guard. You got Gene Stahl leading, and it's not surprising that Chris Lewis really doesn't have anybody to put a hand on him. They attacked the perfect area of that defense, and nobody's even close to Lewis. But you only got 5 guys over there. You're outmanned, and, you know, pretty solid blocking by that whole offensive group of the Calgary Dinosaurs.
The drive, 90 yards, about half on the ground, half through the air. Brilliantly executed by Jason Assen. This is a nice kick into the wind. From the 15-yard line. And out to the 22 and no further. Great special teams play by the Calgary Dinosaurs, Ken Esslinger. The running back that came in plus a penalty down, but he made a great textbook tackle right there on Phil Schnell. Excuse me, I said Phil Schnell. I believe it was Yancey Romano that returned the ball.
Objectional conduct. Calgary, number 21, first out.
So 33-yard line is where the Ottawa GGs will begin. They trail at 29-7. And in Canada, it's a passing game, and when you've got 12 yards passing with 8:55 to play in the third quarter, you are in big trouble, which is the case here.
Well, I think Ottawa has to throw away the game plan now and just start to air it out and take their chances.
Steve Clark, and that was an offensive lineman. That was number 65, the center, Eric LeBay. And he was not trying to make the catch. He just didn't want it to be picked off.
This is not Ottawa's strong suit right now, and they were trying to set up a screen, and LeBay, he's not sure, what do I do with this thing?
I got to figure it out, Leaf. There is a play, right, called a center screen?
Yeah, there is. Sure there is.
They don't normally mean you throw it to the center, though.
No.
Which is the case there.
Yeah, this is tough for Ottawa. This is not their strong suit, and all of a sudden they've been put into a game that they're not comfortable with, and I don't know how they're going to overcome all of this.
Well, you know how you often say, you don't panic, it's not time to panic?
Well, I think it's panic time. Yeah, I think it's panic time now because, you know, for Larry Ring, he's a good guy. His team's had a great year. They had a
65. Down repeated.
You know, they had a speed bump. They got off to a great start this year and lost some games in a row and then have come back near the end of the season. But, you know, to win football games, his team has to be in it because we've talked about this. It's not a come-from-behind kind of offense, and, you know, that's the situation they're faced with now.
Let's see if they can get the ball to Ivrer. Ivrer brilliant in the air. This time they go to Jeff Bereznik, and Bereznik with the reception. Now that penalty was 10 yards on the ineligible receiver, not loss of down. So it'll be second down and about 7 yards to go for the Ottawa GGs.
Well, they did the good thing. I mean, these are tough situations to convert. Calgary did it on their last touchdown when they had a 1st and 20. They were able to, but when Chris Lewis capped off that drive. But now at least Ottawa's done something good. 1st and 20, you get at least 13 of it back.
There it is.
Boy, oh boy, 9 plays.
90 yards, 8 up, 3.5 valuable minutes for the Ottawa GGs off the clock. GGs now second down and pretty long. Clark finds some room as he rolls out, throws, has a man, and has a 1st down. And more yards, he's got big speed. Look out. Tunkara just a breath away from breaking that one. He may be the fastest man on the field.
Tunkara with the reception and the 1st down.
Usman Tunkara with his first catch. He's 6'3", 205, and has great speed.
Yeah, and all of a sudden Ottawa is going to need a lot more of these kind of plays here. Tunkara with the catch and a couple of missed tackles, and this is a fellow that can get it in the end zone in a hurry with his kind of speed. And you know, you would think that after that, Steve Clark's going to start to look his way a little more.
Steve Clark better hurry it up as well. If the hurry-up offense is there, might be a good time to go for it. 1st down. DeCipio just not going to find any room. This Calgary defense has played the run, and DeCipio, a terrific runner, exceptionally well. Bob Richards, once again, you like the way he plays.
Well, he's tough. You know, he's a good pass rusher. He also reads the running plays well. He read the draw trap there and came in and made the play. And you know, I think you make a good point about the hurry-up offense. With only 7:20 to go here in the 3rd quarter, I think Calgary's wasting a lot of valuable seconds huddling up. And, you know, maybe it's just something they're not overly comfortable with. It's tough to know.
Second down and very long, as you can see. 8 yards to go for the GGs. They trail it by 22. Penalty marker down, offside on somebody, and incomplete. And that's not going to do it. I mean, even if he completes it to Carlo DeCipio, he would have been well short. Very nicely covered there by John Colavini. Offside.
There's another roughing penalty going to occur. I don't know what happened downfield, but Chris Evrer rather took a shot at somebody.
It was only a matter of time before we called him Ken. Of course,
yeah.
Their cousin's going to be offside as well against the Dinosaurs. So Ottawa will get one more chance.
Okay. Offside, Calgary, number 35. What's the other one?
Was he asking you?
We'd like to know that too.
Let's call unnecessary roughness, say.
Well, I guess they...
Objectionable conduct, Calgary, number 35.
Well, so, that's Greg Heisey. He and Chris Evrer were having a little set to, and I thought Evrer was going to get called for it, but Heisey gets it. So pretty good break for Ottawa.
The best play Ottawa has had was an incompletion when they went deep to Evrer and he beat his man Heisey. They haven't come back to it yet. Option play, and this time it works for Clark. Clark outside and out of bounds. Picked up 14 and the 1st down.
Clark keeps it himself for 13 yards on the option.
Well, the option's been probably one of the best plays Ottawa's had today. And Chris Zaharko, there he is right there, 60. He's the man they option, and he can't make the play. Phil Schnell, the halfback, goes for the right guy. And, you know, they force Clark to run. That's what you want to do as a defense against the option. Make the quarterback run.
This is 3 plays ago, and that's Evrer and Heisey. That's the collision that started the anger going, and you can see that it has continued right through to here. 1st down. 14-yard line for the Ottawa GGs. Got to get in the end zone and got to get there in a hurry. Clark with good time looks into the end zone and overthrown. His receiver Tunkara broke short, and there Evrer is caught for another penalty. Evrer, I think, belted Heisey in the back, and Heisey went down, and the official saw it.
Well, at this stage of the game, you know, when you're trailing by 22 points, you have to keep your composure. I mean, I know you want to get back at the guy, but for Chris Evrer, he's a good kid, but, you know, he just lost his head there. It's going to cost his team 15 yards in a very crucial state. And, you know, nobody feels worse than he does, but it's just a pretty stupid play to make.
Especially when you think about it, after the play's over.
Unnecessary roughness, Ottawa, number 7. 2nd down.
Yeah, you got to pick your spots, and he didn't pick his spot very wisely.
You got to be smart about it, right? And to drill a guy in the back after the play's over, chances are the referee's going to call that. 2nd down and 25. They've got to make it to the 4-yard line for a 1st down. Clark, 1, 2, 3, 4 wide, 4 receivers to the right, 2 to the left, nobody in the backfield. Just urging Calgary to come with a blitz. They don't. Clark rolls out, throws, got a completion, but still short of the first down, and he's at the 15-yard line. They got to go for it, don't they?
Well, I don't think there's any question at this stage of the game they have to go for it and see if they can get something going.
Barasnik with his second reception of the game, but a field goal is not going to do it. They trail it by 22 points, and that's not the only problem that Larry Ring faces. He knows that they will go into the win in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, and to their credit, Ottawa's finally gone to that hurry-up offense to try and preserve any precious seconds that they can.
Same formation, 4 guys to the right. They love to get man-to-man coverage with Chris Ivrea. Let's see if they try to find number 7. They throw back over the middle and incomplete. Excellent defense there. Boy, beautifully done over the top. He intended it for Barasnik. And I think it was Phil Schnell that came over the top there, number 25. And the key here is not only does he knock the ball away, but he's not called for pass interference. That's a tough play.
He made a great play, and, you know, Steve Clark had the pressure coming up the middle.
Calgary, number 11, third repeat.
So the GGs had come off the field and had put their defense on, and now they wave him back.
They called John Colavini, the linebacker, for offside. Got a jump coming on the blitz, so Ottawa lives to try it one more time.
And wisely, they take a timeout.
Yeah, it's too bad to have to burn the timeout right here, but they just got kind of confused with everything out there, and, you know, probably the best thing to do, although it's really tough to burn one this early in the second half.
But I guess the thinking would be that, you know what, if you don't get in the end zone now, trailing at 29-7, 5:18 to play, going into the win in the fourth quarter, you got no shot. They got to make it.
I agree with you. So maybe, you know, get to the sidelines and pick your best play in this kind of a situation. And, of course, Calgary's going to do the same thing defensively.
Funny how things have worked out. Each team had a great slot back. Blair, one of the best ever. Ivrea, a youngster, but still, Larry Ring talked about him about being potentially, you know, as dangerous as anyone. And look at the job. Blair dominated in the first half, and Ivrea really has done very little in this game.
Larry Ring said that Ivrea had to handle the ball at least 10 times, and he hasn't done that yet in this game.
That's right. He did say that, and he has not. And here's the situation. Third down, needs to make it to the 4-yard line. Clark feels the rush, gets outside, and he may as well throw it up. He does. He's got a man, but he's got to get to the 4-yard line, and that is not going to happen. No lack of effort, but Angelo Michelli, simply too many defenders.
That's tough. That's pretty easy to play defense. You know, when you've got a 29-7 lead, you can take a chance in this kind of a situation and bring a few extra people. John Colavini, the linebacker, was coming, and so was Jody Bednarik, number 71, the linebacker. You see Colavini missing right there, but, I mean, now the fun starts for Steve Clark. I mean, he knows he's in a heck of a lot of trouble, and there's probably no way he's ever going to get out of this one.
Pass rush for Calgary, much, much better than Ottawa's pass rush, and Clark really has not had a lot of time. He hasn't been able to set up.
Oh, he hasn't. He seems like he's had somebody in his face pretty much the whole day.
There's Stahl, or make that Chris Lewis, excuse me, and Lewis is just racking up the numbers now. Chris Lewis, hip pointer earlier in the game, has bounced back, and he's been the story largely in this third quarter.
You know, it's funny. Usually Calgary switches those running backs with Chris Lewis and Ken Elsinger, but I think head coach Peter Cannellan has just felt like Chris Lewis is at the top of his game today, so let's just leave him in there. And, you know, everybody seems to be blocking well for him, and, you know, usually they switch, but today it's been Lewis's show.
Peter Cannellan working the sidelines. Now, that'd be an unusual thing to point out for a coach, except for Peter Cannellan. He spends a lot of time coaching from upstairs, puts the headset on and coaches from the box. In his 13th season, 3 Vanier Cups, would love to make it to a number 4, and he's got a great opportunity. The Mustangs are in. It's the Dinosaurs trying to make it there. That time, Ottawa does a better job to string it out. Mark Armstrong, good pursuit, made the tackle.
Picks up about 3 yards.
Well, once again, you know, you don't want to belabor the same point, but I think Ottawa really has to try and strip the ball. Let's see now with Lewis coming around the right side. Are they trying to get that football? I mean, the first guy wraps up, and that's Mark Armstrong, and, you know, really nobody else has a chance. And, you know, Chris Lewis is thinking the same thing too. Hey, I'm going to protect that thing for everything.
Second down and 6 for the Dinosaurs. Again, Lewis on the ground. This time stopped. Mike Hendricks in on the tackle. One of the linemen as well, Charles Pellerin, down on the ground, brought him down. So Calgary will punt it away, but I'm not sure they really mind that much doing that. They burn some more time off the clock, 3:35 and counting.
Well, the biggest thing that Calgary wants to do is just to not create any turnovers, and they've been really good on that this afternoon.
Hendricks has not had the kind of dominant game that he has had at times throughout this season. Hendricks has been injured in this game as well, has been helped off a couple of times. 6'3", 235, great speed, about 4'7" in the 40, and he is a potential first-round draft choice in the Canadian Football League.
I don't think there's any question about that. We watched him on film a little bit this week, and I was just so impressed that from tackle to tackle, how quickly he could fill a hole, and I think he's playing at less than 100% here in the second half.
Balashik will kick it away. First thing he's got to do is field it. Does a nice job, and this is a great kick into the wind. Spiraling. Evrer at his 45. Evrer to the outside, then he knifes inside. Here's that exciting Chris Evrer, and Evrer finally able to spring loose and show some of his great talent.
33-yard kick.
Don Blair made the tackle. Good call, Leaf. Don Blair playing on specialty teams and doing it all. And right now, the Dinosaurs own it. They lead at 29-7. Back to McMahon in a moment.
Ottawa linebacker Mike Hendricks getting the helmet back on. That wasn't the way this quarter was supposed to start. You giving up a touchdown and them into the win.
Right. We knew they were going to come out. We knew they would have to win, and we had to try to get the ball back. We wanted to get a 2-and-out and keep the ball in our offense's hands as much as possible. And they got a drive going, and when they get momentum, they're tough to stop.
They sure are. Thank you, Michael.
Tough to stop. Now the key for Ottawa, though, is to get into the end zone. 3:10 to play in the third quarter. They trail at 29-7. Clark throws it quickly and through the hands of Angelo Michelli. Usually sure hands. Clark threw him a fastball, and it went through. Second down and 10. Number of drop passes. When you look at Clark's numbers after this game, you'll have to acknowledge the fact that 4 passes, good ones, have been dropped. But still, the passing game of the Ottawa GGs has not been strong today. They're in the hurry up, no huddle there. Clark, good protection this time, throws and through the hands and through another set of hands. 4 hands had a piece of that ball. It was Schnell first and then Bob Kidd, and each guy had a shot at it. Clark threw to a guy who was well covered. I think he was surprised he had that much time. And there through one set of hands and there through another. Doesn't make a whole lot of difference, though, from the Dinosaurs' standpoint, whether or not they intercepted it or not. The key here is they stopped the GGs, and they will get the ball back. And they will get the ball back with 2.5 to play in the third quarter. Peter Cannellan took the win in the fourth quarter. He will have the lead, and he will have the win, and he will have a great chance to go to the Vanier Cup. That's a nice kick, and you may wonder what that was. Clearly an unusual looking play where he batted the ball out of the end zone. The key in the CIAU is if you get the ball out of the end zone, you get the ball at the 20-yard line. But I think that's a fairly dangerous play given the fact that there were a number of GGs standing there. Watch what happens. He'll swat the ball blindly without knowing who was there, and then I think he realizes, whoa, maybe I shouldn't have done that. But he did it, and like everything else today, it went well for the Calgary Dinosaurs. They'll have the ball when we return to McMahon Stadium in Calgary. Welcome to McMahon, and they have, I think, finally decided what to do. 29-7 Calgary over Ottawa. Jayusi slapped the ball, and he got it out. They called it an offside pass, so as a result, they get the ball at the 4-yard line and not the 20-yard line.
Pretty strange play, but the Ottawa GGs still, with a chance to stuff Calgary down here. I mean, goodness gracious, your defense now has to really play and come up and make some big plays.
They give the ball to Stahl, and Stahl's got a huge hole. Stahl rumbling ahead, finally brought down at the 25-yard line, but a gain of 21 yards for Gene Stahl. And the Dinosaurs, against the wind, have been brilliant in this third quarter.
Michael, we talked a lot about Jason Aston today and Don Blair and the contributions they've made, Chris Lewis, but I think when you look at this game, and yes, those guys have all played a terrific football game, but in the third quarter, the offensive line and the fullback, Gene Stahl, to me have been the difference because they've been able to kill the clock, get a touchdown, and just really control this game. They should be really proud of themselves.
There's Lewis again, and Lewis, he's been the big beneficiary of the blocking from his fellow running back in the offensive line. Picked up another 6. It'll be second down and 4. I guess Calgary is a great team, and great teams don't only have one dimension. Yes, in the first half, Don Blair was the big star, but they've shown here that they have all facets of their game going.
Well, I think you make a great point. I don't think you get to a Vanier Cup or that position to be in one without having some sort of running game to complement a strong passing game, and Calgary's really shown you that they're a very versatile offense.
You know, I did these games for a lot of years watching the Dinosaurs, and they are always balanced. Peter Cannellan, very conscious as they make another first down of developing a running attack and passing attack. And as a result, if you think back, we mentioned some of the names. The Dinosaurs have had lots of great runners and lots of great passers. Greg Vavra in the, I guess, in the early 80s, and then one of my favorites, Bob Torrance, who had a great arm, but they've also had great running backs as well.
Saw Bob Torrance in Regina the other day. He, of course, is still with the Calgary Stampeders and getting ready for their big game tomorrow afternoon against Baltimore. But I think at this level of play, I think it's too much to expect a team to just win every game with the passing game. So obviously Peter Cannellan, with all his experience, knows that there's no way he's going to get to the championship without having that solid running attack.
Don Blair now running the ball, and Blair still going. They grabbed him by the shirt, and then he takes a heck of a hit as he ran back towards the center of the field. Blair picked up 4. Now Blair has carried the ball from time to time throughout the year, actually carried it 5 times, averaged 15 yards during the season, so the element of surprise a factor for Blair, but not on this play. Well defensed by Ottawa.
And I'm really impressed with the guard, Sonny Loria. You know, he threw a great block on Chris Lewis's touchdown here in the third quarter, and then again around the corner there leading Don Blair. I mean, this is an offensive line that can give you the straight ahead stuff, but they're very quick on the counters and the sweeps.
Hassan, great protection, throws, has a man, Blair, and Blair made it look easy. The ball was low, but he reached down and took it, and then got hammered as he went out of bounds.
Yeah, that's what I've always liked about Don Blair, how easy he does make these catches look. I mean, this is a tough catch, but, you know, he just goes down and he has great body control. He doesn't lose his stride at all, and he picks it up off his shoe tops, and he makes it look so natural. Well, the Calgary crowd calling for a bit of a penalty here, but, you know, hey, until he's out of bounds, he's fair game.
No call, first down, 51-yard line. No time left on the clock in the third quarter. The Dinosaurs. Lewis, big hit. I mean, a real pop there. That was Pierre-Paul Dorlean. Undersized linebacker, played secondary much of the year. They moved him up, and that was a nice hit by number 2. That's about all that's nice right now for the Ottawa GGs. We said the GGs needed to be leading after the third quarter. They're not. The lead is even bigger for the Dinosaurs. They lead it by 22 with 1 quarter to go. Back to McMahon Stadium in just a moment. Have I seen that before? The answer is yes. Varsity Stadium back in 1985. It was Calgary against Western. The names were Bob Torrance and Mike Sharoshka, and the result was touchdown for Calgary and victory for the Calgary Dinosaurs in the 1985 Vanier Cup over the Western Mustangs. It's looking like we will see that one more time.
And I remember that game. I called that game in those days, and remember that pass to Mike Sharoshka. And if that is the matchup next weekend, it truly will be a great one.
25-6, Calgary won that one over Western. And here's Hassan, sacked for the first time today. The first time that they have gotten a great shot at him, and that time, number 99 was the first man in. I believe that was Lloyd. It was.
Clive Lloyd, outside linebacker, and he's injected a little speed into this pass rush, and this isn't fancy. It's just a speed rush at the top of the screen, and there initially he's blocked, and he gets the leverage to the outside and is able to get the sack on Jason Hassan.
That Calgary team back then, that was, I guess, was Tim Petros around then, or was that Elio Jeremiah?
I think it was Jeremiah. I think Petros was after that.
There's an interesting kick by Malashik. Interesting when it comes to terms of kicking. It's not what you want usually. And this one just about 18 yards. He did a good job to avoid the rush, though. And
well, he's had a tough time, and he's been fielding some pretty wild snaps today. So sometimes as a kicker, I know that can upset your rhythm.
Well, if the score wasn't 29-7, we may call this one a pretty significant play. Yeah, it's a high kick. Well, that's a high snap, excuse me.
He does a nice job just to field it with one hand.
Leaf, technically, let me ask you this. If it was the NFL, could he have called for a fair catch on this?
I think he could have.
Evrere on the reverse. Evrere. You know, he just jumps out at you. You see his quickness. I mean, he's got really, really quick feet. But the Dinosaurs have done a good job of letting him run all over the place, but not really gain much.
I think you look back at this game, and it was interesting to listen to Vic Rauter's interview with Larry Ring at halftime. And, you know, Larry Ring said, hey, we dropped a couple of balls. And I look back to the drop pass by Angelo Michelli. And they could have maybe had a touchdown, and, you know, the game would have been so close. And right now, I think that's really the difference.
And maybe the overthrow also to Evrere.
Yeah.
Here's a nice run, and he's got lots of room. Lots of room. It's a foot race. Carlo DeCipio down to the 3-yard line. The biggest play today. Scrimmage 48 yards for the Ottawa GGs.
DeCipio rumbling down the sideline. Picks up about 49
Into the
yards.
wind, they give the ball to Carlo DeCipio, and he has his biggest run.
Well, the key, DeCipio breaks the tackle of Jay Kleinsasser to the outside, and boom, away he's off and running. Can't quite get it into the end zone, but, you know, for a team who needs a lot of spark in a hurry, he's giving it to them.
Down by 22 points. They got to get in the end zone, and they got to do it in a hurry, and they're not going to do it here. Carlo DeCipio tried to go up, but grabbed from down low by Kleinsasser. Couldn't nail him down last time. This time he did.
Well, he comes over the top and makes a pretty good play on DeCipio to keep him out of the end zone. And every play you waste not getting it in there, the time keeps rolling, and the time certainly is not a friend of the Ottawa GGs right now.
22 points. That means they need 3 touchdowns and some 2-point converts to go. So they better do it, and they better do it right now. There's DeCipio, drops the ball. It's lined there on the 1-yard line. The Dinosaurs have got it. Kleinsasser once again.
Recovered by number 62, Jake
DeCipio, when he seemed to be searching for the end zone, it looked like he was going to find it. Stripped of the ball.
Well, look to the right side of your screen. It's tough to see whose helmet gets through.
Schnell, I believe it was. Phil Schnell, number 25. Wouldn't be a surprise. He's played a great game. You've called his name a number of times.
No, and then Kleinsasser with the recovery, but DeCipio, you'll see it is 25. Good call, Michael. Schnell comes in, gets the helmet on the ball, and then Kleinsasser with the recovery, and kind of the way has gone for Ottawa this afternoon.
1-yard line. Here's Chris Lewis, and Lewis out
Lewis up the middle. He'll
to the 8, pretty close to the 8-yard line, and that's just the way it's been for the Dinosaurs. Give him the ball, and he finds 6, 7, 8 yards, it seems, each time.
Well, you have to feel sorry for Carlo DeCipio. I mean, he's a terrific player, and it certainly hasn't been his day or his team's day, but, you know, he had the great run to get him down there, and then fumbles the football. But, you know, it's just been, you know, you feel like they've been salmon swimming upstream all afternoon here. It just wasn't meant to be.
Yeah, you're right, and particularly disappointing for Carlo DeCipio. He's a 5th-year player. This will be it. As a matter of fact, the 3 players that you talk about most of all for the Ottawa GGs, Steve Clark, Angelo Michelli, and Carlo DeCipio, all in their 5th year for Larry Ring.
Well, I think you have to look back. I mean, certainly it hurts right now to be in this position where you're trailing, and it seems like it's going to be a tough task to ever try and get back into this one. But, you know, after a couple of days, these fellows will realize what terrific careers they've had in university football, and the fact that, hey, they did make it down to the Final Four this year, and that's quite an accomplishment. It won't mean much to them right now, but maybe a week or two from now, they'll realize that, hey, yeah, you know, we had good careers.
Third quarter, we talked about it being a key one. The GGs needed to put some points up, needed to move the ball, and the answer in both those areas was they did not. After 3 quarters, statistically, the Dinosaurs continued to dominate. The GGs did at least get some yards passing. They were at about 16 after the first half, but still, they could not get into the end zone. It was the Dinosaurs that scored, and as a result, those statistics, 466 yards after 3 quarters to 181 total, really reflect what we're seeing on the big board. 29-7 Calgary over Ottawa. Here's how the injury may have happened. Pile up right there, and I'm not sure that may have been a knee to the back. 12:04 to play in the 4th quarter, and the injured player, fortunately, seems to be getting up. That's Mark Armstrong, and there he goes, and here we go. We'll be back to McMahon Stadium with the Dinosaurs leading the GGs 29-7 in just a few moments. Don't go away.
Welcome back to McMahon Stadium. Jay Kleinsasser gets the ball back for Calgary at a time when it seemed the momentum maybe shifts, but this game will go that way.
Yeah, it was a big play just before that. I actually made a mistake on that one, let them get big yardage. And then our halfback came up big, knocked the ball loose, and I jumped on it.
No, it's called redemption. You miss one and you get one back.
Yeah, that's
Coaches
works out that
love
way.
That's what it's all about. Congratulations.
Well, the halfback that made the play was Phil Schnell, his teammate. Stuck his hit in there, created the turnover, and gave the Dinosaurs the ball at the 1-yard line. And they tried to punch it out. They had to actually make it to the 12-yard line, and they came up about a yard short. And Peter Cannellan will kick it away and give it right back to the GGs. But with a 29-7 lead, he's not too concerned at this point.
The only guy that may be concerned is Brian Malachuk there, because he's had to be a center fielder today fielding those snaps when he punts.
And if you're tuning in now to see Canadian sport fishing, you won't see it. The game has run long, so too did the Atlantic Bowl. You can see it Tuesday morning. We'll give you more details on that. That is a great kick by Malachuk, a beauty. And DeCipio stops, and he's got some room. This is getting interesting. Michelli for the touchdown. Angelo Michelli, but a penalty marker is down. And doesn't this typify the day for the Ottawa GGs? Their biggest play, it looks like, will go for naught.
65-yard return for Michelli.
Well, that's tough for Michelli. I mean, that's a great run there, and he just got a little seam and was able to take it down the sidelines. But the way the offense for the Ottawa GGs is coming out of the field in the area they're walking, it certainly looks as though this one will in fact come back.
That's not their convert team that's coming out, Lee.
Oh, it's not.
And that's not the convert location. Frustrating, you know.
Ottawa, number 36. First down.
You know, the thing with the GGs and Larry Ring's team is this, that they have had some, a couple of plays called back, and, you know, they've had a couple of near misses. But I think even if you look at that, you still got to come away from this and say, hey, the better team is leading this game.
Oh, I don't think there's any question. I think you and I both felt that Calgary was the better team coming into this game, just because they were a more diversified team. I mean, they've got plan A and plan B, and I'm not so sure Ottawa ever had plan B.
And another thing you should mention, Larry Ring has done a great job with this program. There's an interesting play. It's the tackle or guard Fumblerooski. It was number 57, Martin Arsenault. And the key here is, did we pick it up? That's a tough one to shoot. Now, you and I, of course, recognize the Fumblerooski all the way. Did we get it? Let's find out.
Well, they snap it and put it on the ground, and watch the left guard. He just picks it up right now from the center. There it is, and he's off and running.
Great job to capture it here. That's nice work. And that's nice work showing the execution of Steve Clark, the way he faked it. We wanted to show you both sides of it. Clark this time holds on to it. Throws. Has a man, but only 5 yards. Ugh. Almost fell off my chair.
You're excited.
I am. Jeff Berasnik with his 3rd catch of the game.
You're excited because Ottawa completed a pass, I can tell.
You helped me out there, pal. You reached back, you saved me.
Still got the good hands.
Lee Pedersen. How many years in the CFL?
8.
8 years in the CFL. Your best year was?
79. 1979.
They run the option, and they're out of options here. No options for Angelo Michelli. Early in this game, Leaf, and I want to get back to that 1979. Early in this game, they had some good success with the option, but since then, Calgary has adjusted to it.
Well, I think they've adjusted with it. I mean, the Calgary defense is a little quicker than I thought. I mean, I just really saw them on television last week, and I thought, you know, Ottawa would have some success to the outside, but Calgary's defense has been quicker, and once they had an initial look at that option, now they've really decided what their assignments are, and they've become more aggressive with it instead of sitting back, and it's paid off for them.
9:45 and counting. 29-7 Calgary out in front of Ottawa. The GGs, they want to go deep. Downfield it goes, and dropped. Both Calgary defenders defenders moved in front. They shortened up, and the ball went over their heads, right into the hands of Jeff Bereznik, but out of the hands of Bereznik.
Well, Greg Heisey, the inside halfback, came over to help out, and he went for the interception and missed, and then Bereznik had a glorious chance to make the catch. You'll see him go down the sidelines, and he's working on Patrick Hardy right here. Hardy will go for the ball, and so will Heisey right here. And look who had the shot at it, was Bereznik. And once again, you know, same old story. Ottawa GGs just can't hang on to the football, and it's come back to haunt them.
Yeah, that look really summed it up.
Yeah, that's a tough catch, but still, what's catch you got to make if you're going to get to the championship level.
They turn it over on downs, and the Dinosaurs get it right back. Quick reception made in the CIAU. Gene Stahl goes down. When you hit the ground, you are down. You can't get up.
3 yards.
Dinosaurs 29-7. You see the time, and you see the total offense 481 to 258.
And when you break down the total offense of the Calgary Dinosaurs, it's about a 50% run-pass ratio, which is exactly what they like to do.
Pretty happy man there, Jody Bednarik. And here's Blair. Blair with a great straight arm. What a play by Don Blair. And Blair stripped to the ball. You were calling for that early in the third quarter. You're saying be more aggressive, and finally they do it. Yancey Romano, was he the guy that stripped away?
Yeah, he was the defensive back that stripped it. I mean, you know, you wonder if this is a little too much too late, but Yancey Romano, he's beaten right there by Blair. The good move to the outside, but if you'll watch, Romano will get back into the picture, and he, in fact, will strip the ball loose right coming up here. There comes out. He's the guy that strips it loose, and number 26, Scott Kendall, makes the recovery.
It was a brilliant play by Blair. It ends not very positively for Calgary, but still you saw Blair's ability to run after he makes the catch. And there's Chris Evrer, and what a play that was by number 72, Rick Tiddick, who came in and brought him down in the backfield. One of the quickest guys around. Tiddick did not start this game, but knifes through, and it's a loss of 6. Make that a loss of 3, excuse me.
Well, what you have to do as a linebacker on these types of plays, you just have to stay at home, let it run just a little bit and stop it, and you're going to see Tiddick show up. Here he is. Watch how he reads the counter from the slot back, and I mean, there's just nobody there to block him, and you know, I think Chris Bear did the smart move. I better get underneath this big tree.
I think he pulled the chute on that one.
Boy, he sure did.
Second down and 12. Clark steps up, throws, got a man, but over his head, and that's a tough pass into the wind like that, attending it for number 17, Jeff Bereznik, who's actually this half been his favorite receiver, but they've had trouble hooking up.
Well, it's been a tough afternoon for Larry Ring. The program's in good shape. They've had a good, solid season, but it just wasn't meant to be today. And I think, you know, one of the things that he'll go back and analyze with the rest of his coaching staff is, listen, we got a terrific running game, but for next season, we have to find out how to be a little better balanced offense if we want to compete at the highest level.
Third down and 12 for Larry Ring's team, and he'll have to find it with a new quarterback next year because his quarterback, Steve Clark, is a fifth-year player out of eligibility after this game, which has 7:22 remaining, and a catch and a hit and a fumble, and it doesn't really matter who gets it because he was short of the first down, but that is one heck of a hit by John Colavini. I mean, he stuck his head in there against a bigger player. So the substitutes for the Dinosaurs really shining on that possession. Tiddick and Colavini. And the Dinosaurs will get it back. You know, you were talking about Larry Ring. He really has come in here and done a great job with this program.
Well, here's the hit on DeCipio. I think Colavini just couldn't get out of the way. The two of them collided together, and the ball came loose.
The toss to Lewis. Lewis following good lead blocking once again of his fullback, and Lewis has another healthy gain. I mean, they are getting 7-8 yards and making it look very easy.
And you know who threw a great block for him that time was Don Blair, the slot back, coming back on the crack, and he just hammered Pierre Dorlien on the inside, and that allowed Lewis to get to the outside. So when you look at this offense, I mean, they have the whole package. You get Blair making all the catches, and he contributes in the running game with a solid crackback block. So, you know, everybody complements each other, it seems.
I guess at this point you start to figure that Peter Cannellan will maybe take out a player like Blair, given the fact that the Vanier Cup is a week away, and it looks like the Dinosaurs will go. There's a toss to Lewis, drops the ball, and Lewis goes back and picks it up, and it'll be third down. And let's go downstairs to Vic Rutter.
Special team. Third down. I was just John Calavini, just field goal unit. Great hit. You said you had to clear the cobwebs. It's the kind of team this is. Everybody plays a part.
Big time, you know, like coach had just finished yelling at me, make sure I get my drops. And so far today, everyone's been doing what they need to do. We're listening to the coaches. And so far, it's 29-7. Everything's proven successful. So that's it. Everyone has to do their part. Everyone's been doing an awesome job. D-line, linebackers, corners. Everybody's just doing a wicked job. So.
Going for 3 more right now. Thanks, John.
The presence of Vic Rutter. I think I heard Vic call for the field goal team. I think he called for it.
He did.
There's the snap, and he drills it. Malashik, he's wide, plenty of leg. 45-yard attempt, and he kicked it 18 yards deep. And give up the one. Evrere down a yard into the end zone, so it will be the 1 point. And I'm not sure Larry Ring will be too unhappy with that. Take the 35 yards in the 1. Well, the Calgary bench pretty happy right now, and why not? They lead it, and they lead it big. 30-7, the Dinosaurs on their way to the Vanier Cup. It looks like it'll be the Dinosaurs and the Mustangs on TSN. More in the fourth quarter after this. Vanier Cup. Now, we're going to go out on a limb, you and I. In the truck, they wouldn't do it, but you are scratching Ottawa off. Circle the matchup now, as I say it.
Scratching them right now.
Calgary Dinosaurs against the
Western Mustangs. Well, I don't have to circle
there you
them.
go.
They're already there. We don't have to circle them. They're already in it.
The Mustangs defeated in a great Atlantic Bowl.
That must have been a great game to call for Rod Smith and Jamie Bowen. A terrific finish down there in Halifax. And Halifax, what a great place to have it. They always support that particular game so well.
It is a great game as DeCipio picks and chooses his way. Make that Angelo Michelli. For a gain of 5, it'll be second down and 5.
You know what I like, Michael? Very much the same as the CFL Grey Cup game tomorrow with the Calgary Stampeders and the Baltimore Stallions. 2 best teams in the CFL are going to meet, and I think after what I've seen today, the 2 best teams in CIAU football are going to meet next week with Western and Calgary, and you always like to see that.
Second down and 7. Comment on that in a second because I agree with you. Otherwise, I would comment. Carlo DeCipio, big hitting. DeCipio, excellent third effort there. He's pretty close to a first down, but here's a 5th-year player who is not going to go out without a bang. 5'7", 195, and he is pounding in there. I like DeCipio. You know, you mentioned the 2 best teams, but think of how close the Calgary Dinosaurs and the Western Mustangs were to not even playing today. Last week, Calgary down big to Saskatchewan, forced to tie it up with no time left and then win it in overtime. And Western, against the Laurier Golden Hawks, had a pass slip through a defender's hands that would have ended their season. There is an excellent pass and excellent defense. Bereznik had a hand on it, but he was drilled by Greg Heisey, number 35.
You know, Michael, as you look at it, and I know Laurier was the #1 ranked team going into last weekend's play, and, everybody liked their chances pretty much. But, in those games, although they were tight, in my opinion, always, the team that wins the tight game, and they're the best team. It's as simple as that, and it looks as though we're going to get the 2 best playing next weekend, and I'm really looking forward to seeing the game.
Good programs, it seems, are good every year, even though you graduate players and, you're dealing with all kinds of intangibles. Calgary Dinosaurs and Western Mustangs, likely the 2 premier programs in the country. And there is a sack for this Dinosaur defense. Bob Richards, veteran, was in the Vanier Cup in 1985 when they lost, 1995. If he was in 1985, you'd have a heck of a story about eligibility.
Well, I think when the Western Mustangs watch this game film, they're going to have to pay particular attention to 54 Bob Richards, because all day he has really been a thorn in the side of Steve Clark. And although this is, I think, his first sack, he created a fumble early in the game, and now he gets the sack late. And, Western's going to have to say, we better locate 54 because he moves around a lot, and we better protect him. There's what he did on the whole season.
I guess the answer is you don't block him with a running back.
No, I don't think you can.
They fake it. They need 18 yards, and they get only 1 yard. Angelo Michelli brought down, and the Dinosaurs will take it over on downs once again.
Michelli, the ball carrier.
Is that Carruthers who made the tackle? Ryan Carruthers, slot back, hasn't caught a lot of passes, but the thing about the Dinosaurs also is you see it year after year, special teams are good.
Dinosaur Athletics would like
Well, they've been flawless this afternoon. You look at the Calgary game, and, you know, in all aspects this afternoon, offense and defense and special teams, you know, I haven't seen them make any mistakes, and that's what you look at, and what makes a good team a great team is, do they make mistakes? And Calgary has played an error-free game, and I think at the college level, that's quite a compliment to be able to do that.
Chris Lewis got lots of room. Lewis close to breaking it all the way. Finally brought down, but not before he picked up 20 yards. Another big run for Chris Lewis. Lewis, he's got to be close to 200 yards. Got to be very close to 200 yards.
Well, I think you look at Ben Fairbrother, the offside tackle. Watch the job that he does. I mean, you talk about this Calgary offensive line, and are they mobile? You bet you they're mobile. I mean, he comes a long way on the counter to open a huge hole for Lewis, and boy, have they ever impressed me.
6'5", 295. That's a tough play, isn't it, for a big guy like that far downfield. Here's the fullback this time. Stall down to the 10-yard line, eating up the ground game right now. The Calgary Dinosaurs have been brilliant.
I think at this point in time, you know, you have to look at Ottawa. And, you know, they look at the clock, 3 minutes to go. The game is kind of over. It's tough for them. Vic Router, who have you got down the sidelines?
Rob Richards, you're sending a message, I think, to Western. The Calgary team isn't. In fact, you're sending a personal message that you're somebody that they're going to have to look at.
Well, both teams, when you get to the Vanier Cup, are going to be good teams. I think Western's an awesome team. They're the defending champs. But we're going to have to go in there, you're right, and send them a message.
There's a lot of pride in this defensive team, isn't there? Because I think so much attention is played to the offense in Nassen and in Blair.
Yeah, we usually get that last little paragraph at the end of the column. Oh, yeah, by the way, the defense plays for the Dinos, too. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly why we came out here, just to prove a point that we can play defense.
Thank you.
Well, we'll mention the defense a few times, but right now the offense, and look at that hole. Left side of the line, Kolacek, Laria, and Barkley Anderson at center. They open up a huge hole for Chris Lewis.
You know how big that hole was? They had Harold Anderson, the right guard, pulling through. He didn't even have to block anybody. I mean, that's how big that hole was. A pretty easy ride into the end zone for Chris Lewis. I mean, watch to the right side of your screen. Here comes Harold Anderson up there. He's got nobody to block. Is that any good? My, oh my. And the old home run swing by Chris Lewis telling you that they are on their way to Toronto on a Vanier Cup appearance.
Lewis putting up some big numbers now. 30 carries, 208 yards, and 3 touchdowns.
I can't get over the right guard. He had nobody to block. That's unbelievable. He'll have somebody next week against Western, I'll guarantee you.
That is shaping up like an outstanding football game. The Mustangs and the Calgary Dinosaurs. We've said that a few times before.
I remember Chris Lewis a few years ago in a game I did. In fact, it was the Atlantic Bowl, and he was thrown in as a young player with an injury. And gosh, he was a good running back then. And you know, it's really a few years later since I've seen him, and he is terrific. Look at the numbers that he has had here in the fourth quarter. It's quite an average, almost 7 yards a carry. It's been his day.
It's pretty quick the way you did that.
Guys, that's what
a little under 7.
7 would have been 210.
6.8.
Unity breeds victory. Unity breeds victory.
I like that line. Unity breeds victory. I will write that one down.
Unity breeds victory.
That's it.
Dinosaurs very happy right now, but I gather at this point when you're up this much, you start thinking about next week and start thinking about the fun in Toronto, Vanier Cup week. Anyone who's been a part of it knows that it is a wonderful celebration of CIAU football. But also the game itself at Skydome. On TSN, full pregame show and all of the excitement coming up. That's next Saturday. Right now, though, the Dinosaurs with a 30-point lead. Kick it deep. And here's Michelli. Michelli just engulfed by number 72, Rick Tiddick. Tiddick got off the bench in this second half, and he has shown that when he gets a chance to step in as a starter, he'll be great. You know, that's the thing about any good program, Leaf, in CIAU. You've got to allow the young players to play. Otherwise, you're faced with guys moving on, and then you're devastated for a number of years. And Peter Cannellan, that's one of the reasons why he will take Chris Lewis in, substitute Elsinger in there, because he knows that Lewis won't be around.
Well, I think you're only as good as your backups and when they're elevated to starting positions. And, you know, he has the luxury of having such good teams that he can work guys in and out of the lineup where other coaches don't have that luxury.
Big hole for Carlo DeCipio. He actually ended up stumbling over his own man, but still picked up 10 and a first down with 2:41 to play.
With the first down, pick up of about 10, 11 yards.
Might be an interesting matchup. I mean, obviously after the Atlantic Bowl today, you know, Western will give up some points. We've seen that earlier in the year in some games I've watched them play. So I don't think Calgary's going to be worried about if they can score against Western. I think what they're going to have to worry about is can they hold Western's offense themselves.
Michelli, it was not a pretty looking play to start with, but he ended up picking up 8, 2nd and 2. Yeah, you're right. You know what? And when I hear that and I see this Calgary offense, I'm thinking shootout, great football game.
Yeah, I think you'd have to lean that way right now. You know, Acadia show where they could score a lot of points against Western today, and from what I've seen of Calgary, you know, I think they're going to be able to score too. So it'll come down to maybe which defense, you know, is going to allow points, but not allow that many.
The thing is, though, that, you know, the Calgary defense right now is looking rock solid this week. Last week against Saskatchewan, obviously, they were shown to be a bit more vulnerable.
Well, the only thing that we really haven't seen today is we haven't seen a passing attack against the Calgary secondary. Now, I know they get probably a good workout every day at practice playing against their own guys, but, you know, that's the intangible that we haven't seen from this game. How well do they defend against a good passing team? And I know Western loves to run the football with Sean Reed, obviously, but they can certainly get the job done through the air, too. So that'll be a strong test for Peter Cannellan's team.
Warren Goldie has a good arm.
Yes.
He passed the ball well today against Acadia. 3rd down and 4. Another fine play, by the way, by Bob Richards there, number 54. 1:45 to play and counting. 1:45 until Richards and the Dinosaurs go on to the Vanier Cup. Clark, tons of time, throws, and almost intercepted. Was that Phil Schnell, number 25? It was. Schnell has had a great game. Rick Tiddick right there as well. So the Dinosaurs totally dominant on both sides of the ball, and as a result, dominant on the scoreboard. 37-7. Dinosaurs over the Ottawa GGs. Time winding down on the season of the GGs, and we'll let it wind down when we return to McMahon Stadium in Calgary. Just a sunny and beautiful day for football here in Calgary, and a beautiful day for Sasha Blaskovich, because he is in at quarterback, and you know when he's in, it means good things for the Calgary Dinosaurs, and the score certainly a great thing for the Dinosaurs. 37-7 with 1:34 to play, and Peter Cannellan able to sit down his starting quarterback Jason Asson, and knowing that this one is nicely in hand. You know, we were just debating, as we always do in these telecasts, what the turning point should be, and that's a tough call, because it's one of those games where it didn't really turn on a dime. The turning point was the matchup. Calgary just a better team than Ottawa. Gene Stahl, the ball carrier, and limited to only a gain of 1.
Hit by number 60, Pat Thomason.
It'll be 2nd down for those Dinosaurs.
Only got one. Hey, that's all right, though. That's all right. That's all right. Something on now? Hey, Mom, I want to say hi to my mom and dad back in Ottawa. I know they're split decision here cheering which team, but they cheer with us. I know they did. Thanks.
That, of course, is Don Blair, who had a couple of touchdowns in the first half.
You know what? I'm thinking it wasn't a split decision either. I'm going to speak for Mr. and Mrs. Blair and say, if your son's playing for one team and the school and the city that you live in is playing for another, you cheer for the son.
I don't think there's any question about that, and Ken Elsinger getting a chance to play now as the Calgary Dinosaurs mop up this game. And we'll move on next Saturday. Jason Asson right there. He had a solid game. I mean, he didn't have to go out and beat Ottawa with his passing arm. He did that in the first half nicely after Ottawa had taken an early lead. And then his team just started to roll and grind away on the ground. And, you know, in the 3rd quarter, they owned it into the wind, and that really what decided the outcome of this one.
A couple of things to look for in next week's Vanier Cup. One of the things is that the GGs play an option offense to some extent, not to the extent that Western does, but the Dinosaurs will see that option once again, and maybe they'll be better prepared for it now, given the fact that they prepared for it and shut it down.
Well, I think they did a good job after they saw it a couple of times.
Well, the one thing that they have had a whole heap of trouble with is holding the ball for converts and field goals. Now, Asson was their holder, but he was not in there on that play, and that looked like a fine snap. But you got to catch the ball, and he did not, but really means very little. 1:04 to play, and it's the Dinosaurs all over the Ottawa GGs, as they can now firm up their reservations. for Toronto. And get set to try to win what would be the 4th Vanier Cup for Peter Cannellan, their head coach. They lost 2 years ago in 1995 to the U of T Blues in a fabulous football game, and they're back at it now. Short hop there.
Pass intended for number 15, Rob Harrod.
That's what they are playing for today. The winner of the Churchill Bowl grabs that very nice trophy. And
boy, I remember that trophy with the Saskatchewan Huskies, and I can't remember what year it was, but they won the Churchill Bowl, and I was covering the game along with John Wells, and the players took it with them down to the old, I believe, the Pat Hotel in Saskatoon that night, and they made me have a few beers out of the old.
They made you, right?
It wasn't champagne, it was beer out of that. Rob Simchick and all his buddies, and it was kind of fun. That's a great memory for me to be around the young fellas, and I really enjoyed it. So I have touched the Churchill Bowl.
You have sipped from the Churchill Bowl.
From the Churchill Bowl, yes, I have. I can't believe they let them take it down to the Pat Hotel. But somehow they just...
Well, I imagine they didn't ask. I imagine they just took it, and the Dinosaurs will have the opportunity to do what they want with the Churchill Bowl, because it will be theirs. Less than a minute to go.
Now, were you moved by those memories of mine from years gone by?
I think the folks listening to my voice heard it crack. Steve Clark throws and knocked away. Boy, the secondary has been rock solid. That's James Dusick, number 21, in now. So full substitutions for the Dinosaurs.
And the Dinos take over on down.
That is the 6th turnover of the 4th quarter for the Ottawa GGs. Most of them on downs, I believe. 4 on downs or 5 on downs, and then 1 on the fumble.
Now, if we could only get them to put names on the back of their jerseys, that would help just a touch, wouldn't it?
That would. 8-1, especially now with all the substitutions, but that's always been the marker of a good Calgary team when they've got plenty of players who can play. Elsinger, the running back, getting some work now. He is their running back of the future. And a marker down as well. Those turnovers, most of them on down, so it's not your typical interceptions or fumbles. Contrast the emotions on the two benches.
Ottawa, number 95, first down.
One more game, baby. You got one more game. A little bit of a while. Unreal. Watching you.
They're talking about one more game. They didn't do it until a few minutes ago, but we've kind of had the feeling since the 3rd quarter, when the Dinosaurs into the breeze came out and scored, that it would be theirs. And in fact had that feeling with 4 seconds to go in the first half, Leaf, when Don Blair scored a second touchdown. You knew the GGs were in big trouble. Asson throws, completes. First reception of the game for another guy who's getting some playing time. That's Jason Mansip. Sasha Blaskovich, I think I called him Asson. They've made the change at quarterback.
Dropped by number 25, Yancey.
I think Asson played a typical Jason Asson game, what he's expected to do in this offense. You know, he doesn't ring up huge numbers, but he's a leader.
Yeah, he's a real leader. You know, I said at the beginning, I've always been impressed with Jason Asson as a young freshman quarterback when I first saw him. And I think, you know, the biggest thing that, you know, when I look at quarterbacks, and there's the one intangible you always like to see is, you know, will a quarterback not beat himself? Will he throw the ball away when he has to? And will he put it in the right spots when he has to? And, you know, I think that's one of the characteristics of Jason Asson that I'm really impressed with. He's a young guy that just doesn't beat himself. Even when he's under pressure, he still makes the right decisions. And, you know, at this level in university football, when you have that kind of maturity, you know, you're going to have success.
Well, he's got the hat on. We'll select the Geo player of the game. He may have grabbed that hat from Vic Rutter and put it on.
Plus, you know what? He's a good guy, and all the guys on the offense, really like to play hard for them.
And that is it. The Calgary Dinosaurs with an efficient victory over the Ottawa GGs advance to the Vanier Cup. They did it on the ground, they did it through the air, and they did it with great way. When they win games, they're well balanced, and they were here today. And you were talking about Assen. You said before the game, you said you liked his touchdown to interception ratio today. 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Jason Assen and the Calgary Dinosaurs, and Peter Canellan will go on to the Vanier Cup. What a great program Canellan has.
Well, it really has. It's a nice blend of a solid offense. The special teams need a little work on the kicking game, but other than that, you know, you look at this team and you say they are very deserving to be where they're going to be next week.
Where they will be the Vanier Cup. It's Sky Dome in Toronto, of course, on TSN, and they will take on the Western Mustangs, who earlier today defeated the Acadia Axemen. And we'll find out the official Geo player of the game, the turning point and more, when we return to McMahon Stadium in Calgary. And we tell you once again, the Dinosaurs are the champions, winning the Churchill Bowl 37-7. Welcome back to Calgary. Time for the TSN Turning Point, brought to you by Sony.
Well, Michael, I think you have to look back to the third quarter when the Ottawa GGs desperately needed the ball with the wind at their backs, but the Calgary Dinosaurs wouldn't give it to them. They put together a 9-play, 90-yard drive, culminating in this Chris Lewis touchdown, and that really was the turning point for the Calgary Dinosaurs.
Cash donation will be made to the Coaching Association of Canada for the training and development of Canadian coaches in amateur sport on behalf of TSN and Sony. The new Sony Handycam Vision, clearly the latest in video cameras. A happy dinosaur team leaving the field, but some are still there. And let's go to our Vic Rutter.
And our Geo player of the game is Jason Assen. I'm just looking over your shoulder here. 570 total yards. 295 rushing, 275 passing, 50%, and that's exactly the way this team likes it.
Yeah, it works well for us. When we're running the ball well, it opens up the pass. We use a lot of play action, so it worked well for us today.
I mean, you have just so many people to go to. I mean, if you go to Blair, you know, then they cover him, and you go to Lewis, and it's a wonderful to be a quarterback, I suspect, to be able to have that.
Yeah, I think a lot of teams figured that we were just a Don Blair show, and he's a big part of our team. But we have a lot of guys on this team that can run the ball, catch the ball, and the defense really stepped it up today as well.
All right, look ahead to the Vanier Cup and Western.
I don't know much about them. Looking forward to getting back to Toronto. We had a heartbreaker there a couple of years ago, so hopefully we're going to avenge
And that's it, too. The memory lingers, doesn't it? Yeah.
It still does, definitely. In a game like that, when there's that much emotion, it's definitely.
Want to say hello to Grandma?
Yeah, I'd like to say hello to my grandma in Medicine Hat and the rest of the family there, and my cousin Dean and Vernon.
All right. Hello, and congratulations.
Thanks a lot.
By the way, a $500 cash donation will be made by Geo to the University of Calgary on behalf of Jason Assen, the Geo player of the game. And a reminder, the Vanier Cup is now official. It will look like this. The Western Mustangs against the Calgary Dinosaurs. They have met before. They will meet again. They have a great history against each other, and you can catch it all on TSN next Saturday. Our pregame show begins at 2 o'clock Eastern Time. The picture taking has begun. The celebrations have begun for the Calgary Dinosaurs. 37-7 the final score. For Vic Rutter and Leif Pedersen, I'm Michael Landsberg. We will join Real Fishing in Progress. Thanks for joining us for the Churchill Bowl in Calgary.